gotta say, this intro just it puts me in a good mood every single time. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. I appreciate you, as always, for taking the time out of your day to stop by, to stick around, to hit that like button, to subscribe to the channel. My name is Brian. This is the Blunt Politics Podcast. If you're just joining us for the first time, stick around for a little bit. Give us an opportunity. If you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you a dime. Thank you to everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and Substack, wherever you may be tuning in from. And thank you to everybody inside the country and outside of the country that supports this channel. It is Tuesday, July 14th, and we have one of the last shows before I undertake my trip to Europe. Thank you guys, have been incredibly supportive of that journey, the mission, and obviously getting us to the point where we can hand over this vehicle to the fine men and women of the Ukrainian armed forces. So much appreciated. Thank you to everybody that joined us last night on the Patreon. The backbone of this community is absolutely the people that are signed up at the Patreon, people that sign up for YouTube memberships, people that consistently are contributing to the chat there. I do have a new goal that we've set. So if we can get to that, I know it's high, but you know, typically the souvenirs aren't cheap. So I'm going to pick somebody in the chat. If we can get to our goal upon my return from Ukraine, I will pick somebody in the chat. I'm going to pick out some souvenirs, some gifts, something that I pick up along my travels, and we'll send that out to you guys. Again, if you could just help us get to that goal, that would be fantastic. And again, thank you so much for everybody that's supporting this journey. A couple of things. Well, let's bring in the chat. Let's say hi to you guys before I dive into the insanity and the nonsense of what we'll be talking about. Might as well. What's going on? I want you tall, and I want you. There you go. What's happening, guys? What's going on? Dyslexic Fingers, how are you? What's up, Jackie? I see you over there on Facebook. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Hey, Alvin. What's up, Dame Dog? Great to see you last night, my friend. What's up, Marianne? How are you? Hey, Tina. Yakov, buddy, hope you're doing well. Hope the back is feeling okay. Let us know if there's anything we can do for you. Send to you. Make you a little bit more comfortable. Oh, thank you so much, Alan. Excuse me, Allie and Gray. My apologies. Thank you so much for the $30 contribution there. Watching you grow, kid. Good job. Much appreciated. And I think that's one of the benefits to getting to see, you know, these programs or a podcast or a live stream, whatever you want to call it, kind of built up. Oh, hold on. Time out. Built up from the beginning is getting to watch it grow, is getting to kind of watch it expand and see where it began and see where we can take this thing. So Allie and Gray, thank you so much for that contribution, kicking it off in the right way. Thank you to Damon, Jupiter, Judy, John. Great to see you last night, my friend. Big salute for your support as well and your service. Carl, what's going on, my brother? How are you? What's happening, guys? What's up, Leon? Forever Young. Everybody over there on Twitch. If you got Amazon Prime, you can subscribe on Twitch. Doesn't cost you a dime, so it's a great way to kind of utilize and get involved. If you don't use YouTube or you use Twitch for other things, you can also keep the show currently kind of running in the background concurrently with that as well. Great opportunity to stitch the show, kind of clip it out. If you find a funny moment in the show, if you find a very informative moment in the show, whatever you call it, you can clip it out, send it out there, put it on social media, and I'll see if it comes across my desk. I'll be able to repost it and share it out. So thank you guys for doing all that you can to help this channel grow. Corrine, good to see you as well. What's up, Chris? What's up, Ziggy? What's up, Atui? What's up, Gamer? Everybody's here today. Oh, thank you, Bry Guy. Let's go. Slava Ukraina. Safe travels to my fellow tradesmen. Right back at you, Bry. Thank you so much for your contributions and your support of this channel. You guys have been absolutely incredible in what not only you're capable of, but obviously the generosity and support of channels here, this channel, and channels just like it. So very much appreciated. Oh, thank you, Dame. Let's go. Stay safe in Euroland. I will do my absolute best. You guys know that. I very much intend on coming back and bringing you guys the highlights, all of the news, the pictures, the photographs, whatever we can do, the interviews, whatever I'm fortunate enough to be able to do in my time over there. I'm going to bring you guys as much as humanly possible. So thank you, Dame. Thank you, Slacks. Much appreciated. Slacks. You hummer, you. What's going on? He says, Slava Ukraini. Love to you, brother. Wishing you a safe trip. Love to all Bryantologists. Much appreciated, Slacks. And thank you for making this a possibility. It's your support and everybody else's support a lot, through the years that makes this even something that is possible, something that we're fortunate, very fortunate to be able to do. So much appreciated. Thank you guys so much. What do you say we dive into a couple of the things? Obviously, we're going to be discussing the another ICE shooting in Maine. As they took down a 26-year-old victim, Joan Sebastian Guerrero, in Biddeford, Maine. So I think that's the 11th. We just talked about, I think less than a week ago, one of their more recent fatal shootings that they had. We're going to be going over their policies once again, because apparently we know the policies of DHS. We know the policies of ICE as to, what they can and cannot do as far as discharging their firearms, shooting into a moving vehicle. But apparently they don't know. They just don't care. They have basic diplomatic immunity at this point. They can do what they want, say what they want, act how they want, where they want, when they want. It doesn't matter, because it's going to get either defended, or it's going to get swept under the rug, or it's even going to be praised by this administration, by their leadership. And it's fucking sickening. We have now become this terror state, living through this terror regime, this death cult that is the Republican Party and Donald Trump's second administration here. So we're going to cover a lot going on with that. We got Trump's big lie speech scheduled for Thursday, which is absolutely guaranteed to be batshit crazy. He's going to come out and pretty much call the two senators down there in Georgia, John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, illegitimate. He's undoubtedly going to try to bring up some foreign involvement or some ridiculous information that he's come up with now to try to steal the midterm elections. I think we can come out right and say it as adults now. The Republicans are stealing the midterm elections. They're doing everything. It's not when the voting starts, okay? It's not when the polls open. It's right the fuck now. With all of the actions and policies and things that they're trying to do behind the scenes, they're stealing the midterm elections right from under your noses, right in front of your faces, right the fuck now. And it's Donald Trump's Thursday speech, which is guaranteed to be, like I said, batshit crazy. That's going to involve Hugo Chavez. Some people have even speculated, myself included, that, Maduro might come up. What's to say that he won't manipulate Maduro into saying that he had some, connection to the 2020 election so he can stop being held in solitary confinement. I mean, I'm not putting anything past Donald Trump or this administration as far as that is concerned. So lots to discuss as far as that is going on. We got Greg Kelly's phone interview with Trump, and then some food and fuel shortages that continue to get worse for Russia. A Preston Stewart video gives us an update on the Russian losses. And then we got a Denis Davidov video, which is giving us an update on the Ukrainian missile and drone activity overnight. So we got a lot to cover, a lot to discuss. I do want to start off here, and thank you guys so much to everybody in the chat. It's amazing to see you guys contributing the way that you guys do. And, I could spend the whole show telling you guys how much I appreciate and how much it means to me to have you guys here. So, without doing that and getting too mushy, thank you guys very, very much for everything that you guys continue to do. Mods, thank you for making this a possibility. I've been blessed with the most fantastic mods here. So I want to make sure that you guys get the shout out that you guys deserve as well. But all right, we can, before we get into what's going on with ICE and everything coming out of Maine, I do want to get into just the recent news coming from the Strait of Hormuz, what's going on between the United States and Iran, just kind of a general overview of the shit show situation that we now find ourselves in. The degradation is pretty much complete, right back to full-scale war, right back to blockades. We got our demented commander-in-chief talking about charging tolls as 20%. And then today we have a clip here where he now says that's not going to happen. Apparently he got a couple phone calls saying how stupid that idea was. But this is from U.S. Central Command. And this was posted 20 hours ago. It says at 4:45 Eastern today, U.S. Central Command began launching the third consecutive night of strikes against Iran at the commander-in-chief's direction. These strikes will continue imposing heavy cost on Iranian forces and degrade their ability to attack innocent civilians and commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. And again, the theme of this, I want you guys to remember, and I want you guys to continue throwing this through your brain, is why do we still have the necessity? Why do we still have the need to continue to hit these sites? Okay. Why aren't these very important installations? Why aren't these sites missile or drone sites or radar installations, training facilities, fast attack boat launch sites, whatever it may be? Why weren't those taken out completely in the first 40 days, 20 days, 25 days of this war? Why have we heard time and time again Donald Trump tell us that they have no military capabilities, only to see them time and time again shoot into the Strait of Hormuz, launch missiles at the U.S. bases in the Gulf nations, only to have the United States then further respond? And this was, let me see if there was anything else put out, because I don't know if they detail what they were actually striking here. It says U.S. Central Command completed the latest wave of strikes in Iran at 10:15 p.m. Eastern time on July 13th. Yesterday, during the 5-hour mission, U.S. forces successfully struck military targets, which Donald Trump says they have no more of, across Iran, including Bushehr, which they've hit, 1,500 times at this point, Chabahar, Jask, Konarak, Abu Musa, and Bandar Abbas. Bandar Abbas is another one that you'll recognize has been hit, several thousand times at this point. But Iran just continues to have the ability to rebuild or continue to restock these sites. I don't know. They're just unbelievable at doing it, apparently. That goes on, and they say to further degrade Iran's ability to attack commercial shipping, CENTCOM forces employed precision munitions against Iran coastal defense systems, which, again, have supposedly all been knocked out in the first weeks of the war. But we continue to drop millions and millions and millions of dollars of munitions to continue to take out again. I don't know what you want to call it, but, and then it says missile and drone sites, which, again, Donald Trump says they have no more of, something that they definitely don't need storage facilities. If they don't have any missiles or drones to store, then why the fuck are we hitting the storage facilities? You know what I mean? And then they have maritime capabilities, as it states here. More than 50,000 U.S. service members are currently deployed across the Middle East. American forces remain vigilant, lethal, yada, yada, yada. And they put together this little propaganda. Some of the footage coming out from some of their strikes, probably impossible to tell what strikes they come from, what night they actually happened, but they're more than happy to kind of utilize it for their propagandistic beliefs there. And then let me throw this one on, because apparently, as crippled as the Iranians are, it's just amazing that they still have the ability to launch retaliatory strikes. You know what I mean? Because it says here, as reported by the Washington Post, Iran launches attacks on Gulf states amid heaviest U.S. strikes in months. Iran announced the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, a claim U.S. officials rejected, continuing a cycle of contradictory statements and a stalemate over the vital waterway. Again, just to reiterate, a problem that wasn't a problem before we started bombing Iran. Right. So we're still in this stupid situation of trying to mitigate, damages that weren't being seen before we started this war. Like, we're not going in and trying to, fix their government or, again, put somebody else in charge or, affect regime change or, create instability with the citizenry so that they rise up against the government. We're not doing any of that. We're not even, and as dark as it sounds to say, we're not even killing people. Like, it just seems unbelievably ridiculous, this whole fight at this moment in time. It seems to be for nothing. It seems to be because of nothing. It seems to be without, like, reward or benefit by all stretches of the imagination. Like, we just have two lunatics. I feel like this is what it was like when you had Hitler and Stalin going head to head, right? When you got the demented person on one side, psychotic and demented person on the other side, that just don't listen to reason, that have no basis in reality whatsoever. Like, the Iranian leadership has a lot of that as well. I mean, let's just fucking be clear about it. Let's just be down to earth. Like, they are a lot more sane sounding and a lot more in tune with reality than the United States administration, than Donald Trump and his leadership is, by far. But let's not get it twisted. Like, they got some fucking sickos and psychopaths on the Iranian side too. So it's just, we got two demented sides right here trying to, vie for the biggest propaganda victory, because the Iranians continue to hit U.S. bases that they've hit time and time and time and time and time again, right? United States knows which ones they're going for. They've taken the appropriate measures. Hopefully, you would suspect, to keep the soldiers and airmen and people stationed at those bases safe, whether that's removing them, putting in new air defenses, whatever it may be. But it's like the same thing that continues to happen on the U.S. side. We hit just Bandar Abbas, Sirik, the same sites over and over and over again. For what benefit, right? To what end? Because it doesn't seem to be that we're eliminating those sites, which is crazy. And then you get Donald Trump every single time basically telling the Iranians when we're striking and where we're striking. Like, imagine fucking FDR was like, hey, just to let you guys know, where are you going to be? Hey, you Germans, what are you going to be doing on the 6th of June, 1944, I don't know, say 0400 hours? Because if you could meet us at Normandy Beach, that would be fantastic. Because, I know that you can't do anything about it. It's just like, it's ridiculous. We're in a time of lunacy, right? We're in the fucking twilight zone as far as this is concerned, because there's no benefit on either side as to what's happening and why these strikes are occurring and why we're wasting the millions and millions and millions of dollars on these munitions, why we're creating so much instability on this planet, why we've now drained our strategic reserves to the point of, fucking redlining, where everybody's now throwing up the red flags like, what the fuck's going to happen here, whether it's fertilizer, diesel, jet fuel. We all discussed this last night on the Patreon Zoom. Shout out to the patrons again. Thank you guys so much for the support and obviously the great conversations that we have every Monday night. You guys can sign up too if you're not already at patreon.com/Boston Brian. Get you involved in just our behind the scenes face-to-face discussions. It's a little bit more intimate, if you will, than the shows and being in the chat. Get you to put some faces behind the screen names that you see time and time again as well. So 3 great tiers on there. If they fit your financial capabilities, I would be honored and privileged to have you as a part of the patron community. But just wanted to go through a little bit of this and see what else we can gather from these latest strikes going back and forth. The United States and Iran exchanged the heaviest fire in months on Sunday, with both sides striking numerous military targets. Iran announced the closure of the Strait of Hormuz and its disabled civilian container ship. And like we talked about last night in the Zoom, this is just the Iranians continue to wield their power, to continue to say, hey, listen, you guys agreed to this in the memorandum of understanding, and we're going to continue abiding by that you agreed on and that we stipulated, which was you were going to go through the Iranian designated route. You weren't going to open up your own routes. You weren't going to go through the Yamani route. You were going to go through the routes that we told you to go through. You were going to give the appropriate warning. You were going to get the appropriate permission, and then you could freely travel through the Strait of Hormuz. But otherwise, we're going to continue launching on these ships, whether it's warning shots or actually striking them. And that's what we've seen take place. So I continue to reiterate that this is a problem that we didn't have before this war started, which just shows you the ridiculousness of the situation. But now that Donald Trump has announced the reinstituting of the blockade, I feel like, and we've been warning for this for a while now, since this whole fucking shit show kicked off, that the Bab al-Mandeb Strait is becoming more and more likely to come into play. Okay, so if the United States continues the bombing campaigns, if they continue to blockade, and they limit the options that the Iranians have, I think they're going to activate the Houthis. I think they're going to activate them in the Red Sea, and I think they're going to close the Bab al-Mandeb, and then we're really going to be in a world of shit. Okay, that hasn't happened yet. As much pressure as we've seen be put upon the world economy, gas, like I said, fertilizer, jet fuel, diesel, all of the things that go along with either petroleum products or, things going through the Strait of Hormuz in general, like that's going to be exponentially worse, like much worse than you could possibly imagine. And it's something that the Iranians have in their tool belt, right? They still have that ammunition. They still have that bullet loaded in the chamber that they just haven't pulled the trigger on yet. And the more that the options run out and the longer that this drags on, I think it's just logical to suspect that may become something that we have to worry about sooner rather than later, right? So this also goes on to say that the U.S. military shot down an Iranian cruise missile and one-way attack drone. A spokesperson for the U.S. CENTCOM said, yada, yada, yada. U.S. military carried out more strikes against Iran, 5 p.m. Eastern on Sunday to degrade their ability to attack, which is just the CENTCOM statement. Just going through this to see if there was any other specific incidents, things that they hit where we could call out that they've said, that the Iranians have no more. It says Iran's armed forces fired at least 3 waves of missiles and drones at U.S. military bases across the Persian Gulf, Jordan, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, Oman, early in Sunday in retaliation for the extensive U.S. bombing across southern Iran, according to the semi-official Tasnim news agency, which is associated with the IRGC. The U.S. military said overnight that it had launched strikes in Iran after the IRGC hit a Cyprus flag container ship. We talked about that. Let's see. Iran fired warning shots at the container ship passing through the strait in the past week, raising tensions with Washington. So, yeah, it just continues to degrade this entire situation. The extensive U.S. strike triggered a flurry of retaliatory attacks by Iran against U.S. bases. Tasnim reported that Iran struck the Prince Hassan Air Base in Jordan, the Al Hudad Air Base in Qatar, U.S.'s Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain. All things that we've heard time and time again now as far as Iranian strikes. It all seems futile. It all seems useless at this point in time. There's no reason. There's no rhyme to it. Again, it doesn't further either position, whether it's the United States or the Iranians, by like the targets that they're hitting. Again, the control and shooting at the supply ships and the ships going through the Strait of Hormuz absolutely has an impact and absolutely shows ownership and gives pause for concern to the insurance companies, the shipping companies, the captains themselves, which will have an impact on shipping, as we've seen. I thought there was, the number of ships that were able to traverse the Strait of Hormuz was down into single digits into the last couple days. So clearly it's not open as Donald Trump would have you believe. It's both open and closed at the same time. That's how ridiculous the situation is, right? This says, I don't think there's anything more that we need. That's just Donald Trump's 1,000 missile post that we went over the last time on that show, on the show. But let's see here. This was, this is a little bit more. I just want to dive into a couple minutes of this, if you'll allow me to. I apologize for exposing you to so much of this dickhead today, but, I'm just trying to, gather whatever information I could possibly gather and call out as many lies as I could possibly call out from this administration. But this is Donald Trump on with Hugh Hewitt, and Hugh Hewitt was asking him about what's going on in Iran with the Strait, with the leadership. Hugh Hewitt desperate to see more and more people be killed, like he's dying to see the leadership be taken out, the third, the fourth, the fifth string, as they call them. So I just want to go through just a couple minutes of this and see what Donald Trump says and lies about as far as the situation with the Strait, the situation with Iran, and see if there's anything that we can gather from this. So after this, we have a couple more to get into as well about the what was the next thing that I wanted to get into? Well, we'll figure it out. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's dive into a couple minutes of this. If you can hit that like button, that would be absolutely fantastic. Even better if you could subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 25,000 subscribers before the midterm elections, and it's only with your help and generosity that we're going to be able to get there. Thank you to everybody in the chat so far that has been trying to get us to that goal. As I, during my travels to Europe, will pick out this beautiful souvenir, and I will, at random, pick a chatter or anybody that watches this show, and we'll get something sent out, maybe even a couple of you guys, depending on the type of souvenir that I get. So thank you guys for supporting the show. Thank you for supporting my travels and obviously my passion in supporting the armed forces and the men and women of Ukraine. So hit that like button again. If you could subscribe, that would be even better. This is a little bit of Donald Trump on with Hugh Hewitt. And I don't know if I should start it from the beginning. I forget at this point. What do you say? We'll start at the beginning and see what else we can call it. Again, I'm not going to go through too much of this because we have to deal with Donald Trump on with Greg Kelly. So I can only expose you guys to so much of this guy's vagina neck in one day before you guys start leaving. So, all right, let's take a look at what lies he was telling on with Hugh Hewitt.
Joined now by President Donald Trump. Mr. President, welcome back to the Hugh Hewitt Show.
Sorry. I had to speed it up just a touch. I had to see what they were talking about, and I didn't have the time to go through it at normal speed. No, who wants to listen to Donald Trump at normal speed anyway? All right, let's get into it.
Thank you. I want to begin by saying I'm sorry you've lost your friend, Lindsey Graham. I want to congratulate you on the 250th anniversary of the country on the Mall and your speech. And I want to especially thank you for raising with General Secretary Xi Jinping.
Right, well, now I know why I had it set at about 1 minute and 30 seconds in, because I had to go through all of the ass kissing and shoe shining that Hugh Hewitt, Greg Kelly, and all the rest of these people must do, have to do, are forced to do anytime they have Donald Trump on the phone or in person or sitting down for an interview. Half the interview is taken up by their praising and applauding of Donald Trump like the fucking blind seals that they are. Well, let's see what else he gets into here.
He's got a lot of dislike there. I got the other one out, as you know.
Yes, you did.
And that was good, but I'm having a little problem with Jimmy. We've gotten a lot from China. China's been good. We got TikTok approved, as you know, and it's good. I was #1 on TikTok this month. which was very good.
No, you weren't. No, you goddamn weren't. I don't think he's anywhere in the top 20. Not that that's like, the necessary thing that we have to call out as far as this exchange is concerned, but just to show you how delusional he is, he went on to tell the world that he was number one on TikTok. Meanwhile, it's pretty publicly known information, pretty accessible information to see just who's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on as far as TikTok is concerned and accounts are concerned. And Trump, I don't even think it was in the top, 50, 20, something like that, but damn sure it wasn't number one.
But I got a lot of things from China, including we're taking in a lot of money from China. But Jimmy, I didn't do as well with, frankly.
Well, you don't give up. I hope you keep trying.
No, I'm not going to give up. No, I'm not going to give up. But, look, they did have a little problem with Hong Kong. Let's face it,
Yeah, I'm not too much interested in what he's talking about in Xi Jinping, considering he went over there to kiss his ass. As we now hear the reporting that China and Russia are much more militarily aligned and affiliated than kind of we let on, that Donald Trump would let on, and anybody led to believe. But I'm just kind of curious what he was saying about Iran. So I'm going to skip ahead here, see if huge anus here asked him any questions about Iran.
Before you enter into another deal, will you insist that IAEA inspectors get down into that deep tunnel and find out if they got a doomsday machine down there?
Absolutely. They don't have it because we have eyes, with space.
So apparently he's talking about, and I forget the nickname that they gave it, but he's talking about one of the other nuclear sites that Iran has. I believe it was somewhere within a mile of the Nahan's site that they were striking in the mission that they undertook previously. But apparently, this is on Donald Trump's radar. It's something mountain. Let me see. He goes back and says it now. Let me see what he says.
Before you enter into another deal, will you insist that maybe at the weekend you have obliterated 3 of their nuclear sites, but they got a 4th site maybe at Pickaxe Mountain?
Yeah.
Pickaxe Mountain, that's what they call it. Pickaxe Mountain. So apparently this is a site that is, newly onto Donald Trump's radar, one that they either didn't hit or didn't take out of action during their Operation Midnight Hammer operation that they took over. But this is, again, Hugh Hewitt saying that we need to go in and start bombing more nuclear facilities. He then again asked if if Donald Trump was able to take out their 3rd, 4th, 5th string leadership. He's not happy. He wants to go in there and just wipe the entire leadership out. He wants to take out, and occupy all of their nuclear sites, all of the military sites that they possibly can. It's crazy what these guys want to see as far as war hawks, neocons, just these bloodthirsty maniacs that just continue to wield the United States military as a political weapon to get done anything that's on their agenda that they could be, it could be useful for. It's nuts. It really is.
Before you enter into another deal, will you insist that IAEA inspectors get down into that deep tunnel and find out if they got a doomsday machine down there?
Absolutely. They don't have it because we have eyes, with Space Force and everything else. We have a lot of eyes on it. But Pickaxe is a possible target for a nice big fat shot right there.
Why is it still a thing? Okay. Why at this point in time is that still a thing? And Donald Trump seemingly admitting there that the Iranians are nowhere near having anything as far as nuclear capabilities. No, they don't have it, he says. Okay, so then what the fuck are we doing? What are we trying to do here? What are we trying to accomplish? What are the goals? Okay, and it just seems to be like a propaganda war at this point. But I'll go on because he says, I think, a little bit more about his intentions and who controls the Strait of Hormuz, which is just, a thing that wasn't a problem, as I continue to say, before the war started.
Pickaxe Mountain, and I don't think it's not on your list. I think it's on your list, and you're telling me it is.
On the list. We're watching it closely. We see no activity there. They're not doing well with their nuclear situation. Every time we hear about it, we blow it up. So they don't like talking about it. But we'll probably give Pickaxe a shot relatively soon.
Good. Now, the Iranians.
And that's Donald Trump, the president of the United States, commander-in-chief of the armed forces, telling the Iranians that we're going to be targeting this specific site sometime in the near future. Probably not the best military strategy. If I was a pilot and I was tasked with going in and striking these sites, and I knew that the commander-in-chief of the fucking armed forces had already told the enemy where we're going to be striking, I'd be pissed the fuck off, okay? I would be heated. Like, what makes you think that they're not going to send in more air defense systems now, right? What makes you think they're not going to station more people in and around this facility because you just told them that it was likely to become a target? Like I said, what if FDR told the Germans we were going to be landing on Normandy beaches, right? After the entire operation that they went through to try to trick the Germans into thinking that we were going to land at the Pas de Calais. Like if FDR just called and was like, yeah, just to let you know, boys, June 6th, 1944 at about 4 a.m., we're going to be landing right here. So meet us there if you can. I think the people that were, in Patton's military and the people that were, blowing up the fucking fake tanks and the landing craft and playing fake military sounds, I think they'd be pissed off that they just had to go through all of that just to send the men and women into the fucking direct harm's way because you told the enemy where and when we're going to be striking. It's just, I would be fucking pissed. Like if I was the pilot now, I'd be like, nah, pick somebody else. Like clearly they're going to be sitting there waiting. And as we've seen, they have the ability to take down different types of aircraft as far as the U.S. military is concerned.
Will never, this regime, the crazy people, and they are fanatics, they're religious fanatics, they will never stop trying to kill you and your family and blow up your library. Do you think you've got to get that?
And blow up your library? What? What the fuck? What would make him throw that in there? Honestly, like all of the problems that we're now facing, all of the sites that are being bombed, like everything that's going on right now, and the library is what you think the Iranians are going to attack? You think that's one of their on the tops of their list things that they have to attack is Donald Trump's fucking library? Sorry, I know this is an aside, but just the most random thing I've ever heard there. Like, yeah, they're gonna kill you, your family, they're gonna burn your books. What?
Regime out of there in the next 30 months?
Well, I think they're a little cuckoo. I think they all are.
And the question is, I'll let him repeat the full question there because I was calling him out, but he's basically asking if Donald Trump is going to take out all of the leadership. The people that we're negotiating with now, the Ayatollah that's in place right now. We're going to just kill them. How many people are we going to kill? Can you kill them? Should we? Are we going to? Let me know if you're going to kill them. Is the basic question by Hugh Hewitt.
Trying to kill you and your family and blow up your library. Do you think you've got to get that regime out of there in the next 30 months?
Well, I think they're a little cuckoo. I think they all are. We knocked out the first regime. We then knocked out the second regime. We then took out about 25% of this regime. And
it's an asinine way to approach this conversation. Yeah, 30% of that regime. We took about 17% of that regime. It's the same fucking regime, dickhead. What are you talking about? It's the same fucking regime. It's the same way of governance. It's a more hard-lined and affiliated to the IRGC government than they had before, okay? It's the guy's fucking son. There's no regime change that has taken place. That's it. You took out the leader, okay? That's about it. You took out a bunch of other people, but as far as the regime is intact, much like it's intact in Venezuela, right? Maduro's regime is intact. You cut the head off the snake, but unfortunately somebody went in and just reattached another head. So it's just a different head that's on the snake. Snake's still there. Snake's still moving and can bite, but it's just a different head on the goddamn thing.
A little bit differently. We had a deal yesterday. It was going to be 100%, and then all of a sudden they got a phone call and they all ran out of the room. These people are crazy. We had a deal where we won everything, and they basically break the deals. They make deals, and to them.
You mean breaking the deal like how Israel was supposed to be out of Lebanon, but they haven't achieved that at all either? And as a matter of fact, we've seen quite the opposite: continued bombing, not to mention the continued push into the West Bank, the continued push and bombings that we've seen inside of Gaza. You don't seem to be mentioning too much of that as far as the reasoning why this has collapsed. You continue to call the other side psychotic, and they're saying the same thing about you. We've heard the reports. Everybody's heard the reports that the Iranian side literally had to hire fucking psychiatrists and people to sift through the nonsensical fucking rants of Donald Trump to try to figure out and kind of, determine what's to come next, what he means, what he's actually going to do, what he's lying about. That's the position that we're in. So when I say this is Hitler versus Stalin, it may not be a one-to-one connection, but as far as mental capacity and the psychotic nature of the two sides that we're now dealing with, I think it's pretty, applicable.
Them deals are made to be broken. They are extremely unreliable people. And frankly, if they ever had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it within one day.
Amen. Can you or the American?
What? Why does that require an amen? If they had a nuke, they'd use it in one. Amen. Amen. Like, you just amen the nuclear fucking, like, the Iranians using a nuclear weapon. Like, I don't know. I know you guys are demented over there on that side. I know you guys fucking amen and do this and that all the time to dumb shit. But to amen a nuclear fucking launch is crazy. That's diabolical.
American military or the Israeli military get to what's left of their third string and their fourth string and their fifth string? Do you know where they are? Can you kill them?
Yeah, I do, but we don't want to talk about that.
Can you kill? Like, he's fucking salivating at the mouth. Can the Israelis get to their third and their fourth and their fifth and their sixth string? Can you get to the kids? How many more girls' schools can you bomb? Right? How many more hospitals can we take out? How much of their fucking clean drinking water can we stop? Like, it's amazing. It's like Lindsey Graham never died. He just turned into fucking Hugh Hewitt.
But
okay.
We certainly are watching. Yep, I know
All right.
a lot about that.
Okay, we don't have to watch any more of this. That's kind of the crux of the part that I wanted to show you, where he's just, talking about the elimination of different leadership. Like, it's nothing, like it's a Tuesday. Just a Tuesday. Can you kill him? Can the IDF kill him? How about we kill him? Why don't you just kill them all? You know what I mean? So right in line with Jesse Waters and the rest of these psychopaths and what they say, what they want to see happen as well. But let me see here, because there was a couple moments. Oh yeah, this was this morning. This is what I want to show you this morning. Kind of the change in rhetoric from Donald Trump. So there's not too much to get through in here. But the other day, this is what he said. So this is from July 13th. So just yesterday, in which he said he was going to obviously be re-implementing the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, and then he was going to be charging a 20% toll, which by my calculations is even more than the Omanis and the Iranians threatened to charge. It said that they were going to charge as a toll, as a fee to go through the strait. Basically, us Don Corleoning ourselves. Oh, hold on. It lost connection to my server. I got to go back now. But we're basically Don Corleoning ourselves and telling everybody, yes, we'll protect you. Pay us to protect the strait that we're actively now the reason that it's closed. You know what I mean? So you protect us from this thing that didn't need protection beforehand, and you then have to pay us because we started bombing Iran, and now they closed the Strait of Hormuz. Like, it doesn't get more mafia-like than that, really. You know what I mean? It doesn't really, like, you're protecting these other countries from the problem that you created. Like, that's exactly what they used to do. Go into these businesses and say, hey, great business you got here. Be terrible if something happened to it. Meanwhile, it would be them doing something that would, if anything, happen to it. But you'd pay us, and we won't come in here and burn it down. So it's along the same lines. It's a similar way of thinking. But let me throw this on, because this is him on with Fox News just yesterday, talking about his willingness and how he wants to now not only re-implement the blockade, but also charge a toll. And then today, cut to where he says nobody should be able to charge a fee. Just show how erratic this guy is mentally. Like, the brain capacity is so shot at this point. He doesn't know what he said yesterday. He can't figure out why he has to change his tune. I'm assuming he got some phone calls, like he kind of alludes to, of people being like, what are you, out of your fucking mind? Like, why the fuck would we pay you tolls? You were just so pissed off this whole thing that we're going through because we don't want the Iranians and the Omanis to be able to charge tolls, and you're going to charge us even more? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? So I think he had to change his tune. But this is just yesterday, and then we'll show how the dementia riddled fucking child changed his mind today.
We hit him very hard last night. Every time they send a drone, we hit him very hard. But we had a deal. What nobody knows, we had a deal. It was a done deal. And then they broke it. They always break it. We've had 10 deals with these people. And so we're just going to hit them very hard. And we're going to keep the Strait, and we'll probably run it. We'll become the guardian of the Strait. Maybe we'll call it the guardian angel of the Strait. And we should be reimbursed for that.
The guardian angel of the Strait, that we're the reason it's closed. We're the reason that people in economies around the world are now feeling the economic pressure. Again, whether it pertains to fertilizer, jet fuel, diesel, gas that you guys and everybody else has to pay for at the pump, heating fuel for your home. I mean, this is one thing to have it happen during the summer, but it's a whole nother thing entirely when we start getting into the colder months and people start needing and using much more heating oil, much more energy for their houses in general. Whether it's gas or, oil for people that have oil burners still. But, it's a problem now. But wait until, if this persists and we continue to see this problem and the shortage on the petroleum, the fuel reserves, the petroleum reserves that we have, if we fall over that edge and fall over that cliff, it's going to be fucking Armageddon.
If we do that, we're going to be reimbursed because the other nations are very wealthy. They're on our side. And we can't be expected to do that for nothing, unlike we had for many years. You know,
Right, so that's where he says he's going to be reimbursed by the Gulf nations that are really rich. So just another way for him to extort these people for more and more and more money, and then find some way, I guarantee, to throw it in his own pocket as opposed to the United States coffers. But this is just this morning, 2 hours ago. This is posted by Asen, and this is where he says that he doesn't like the concept of a fee now. You know, he doesn't think it's fair that anybody should get to charge a fee through the Strait of Hormuz, which is, again, completely a 180 from what he said less than 24 hours ago. So, again, let me just play this clip. It's about a minute long. But you can see the erratic nature of this guy and how he's not capable of a consistent brain thought. He's not capable of just a a sane thought at this point.
Qatar, Bahrain, and Kuwait, primarily, and then.
Well, hold on. Let me start at the beginning. My apologies.
Just on the prior question, the Hormuz Strait whole idea for you, that's dead now. That's completely gone.
No, I just told you. You have Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, and Kuwait, primarily, and then others. I spoke to all of them, and they would love to invest more money in the United States at record amounts.
So this is him trying to cover his ass, okay? And in case anybody in the chat has not followed this show long enough, is not familiar with the bullshit and the antics of Donald Trump and saying something stupid, coming out with a ridiculous idea, and then people shooting it down in the background, and then him having to try to cover his tracks on that, that's what you're seeing right now. Okay, much like he's trying to have that toupee and whatever they call that fucking thing on the top of his head cover the pinkness of his scalp. He's trying to cover up what he said yesterday as being this ridiculously insane idea of having Gulf nations now have to pay us a fee, reimbursing us for protection of a strait that we're responsible for the closure of. You know what I mean? So again, the insanity of it is not lost upon you, but that's exactly what he's doing here. He got some calls behind the scenes, or he was talked to by his administration to tell him like how insane and ridiculous of an idea that was. I'm sure the Gulf nation said, why the fuck are we paying you to have bombs being lobbed at U.S. bases in our territories, lobbed at other areas in our territories, closure of the strait. We're seeing huge economic ramifications, tourism being shot down in areas that thrived on tourism, basically almost solely. And you want us to pay you 20% to get our ships through there? Like, what are we doing at this point? So this is him now being like, yeah, they called and they said they'd rather invest in the United States because we know Donald Trump's ongoing lie of the amount of investments coming into the United States from foreign adversaries or, just foreign nations in general. He calls it 20-something trillion. His own White House doesn't agree and won't stipulate to that fact. I think they've talked about some maybe 8 or 9 trillion. A lot of that is, in word only, in promises only as well. None of these huge manufacturing facilities, none of these huge plants and job rebuilding fucking policies have done anything. And as a matter of fact, I believe we've lost manufacturing jobs on a consistent basis. If correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but I don't think we're doing very well by that data set by any stretch of the imagination, and certainly not seeing this boom that Donald Trump promised, much like he promised the end to the war in Ukraine, much like he promised, cutting your energy costs in half, much like he promised lower gas prices, lower, cost of living, all of the things that we've seen the exact opposite of in his second administration. But that's what he's doing here. He's covering his tracks.
And that would be very acceptable. And this way, there's no fee. I don't like the concept of a fee. But at the same
just said yesterday that he was really happy to be able to institute a 20% fee less than 24 hours ago.
Same time, it's not fair that we're protecting this strait for the entire world, for China and everyone.
I would say that it's not fair to the entire world that the strait is now closed, that you guys, in conjunction with Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli military, decided on behalf of the Gulf nations, on behalf of the planet, and any country that gets, their necessities, gets their whatever they get through the Strait of Hormuz, like you decided for the planet that this was something that was necessary, that you were going to speak for everybody, and that you were going to take on these economic risks, put them on your back, and say, don't worry about it, let me handle it, everything's going to be fine. And we've seen everything in this situation degrade much like everybody suspected. Okay, things have been anything other than fine or good or beneficial as far as this situation is concerned. So, to consistently talk about the Strait of Hormuz, where we didn't have to talk about this before the bombs started going, before the bombs started flying, is again an example of how deluded and demented this administration is. Like, they're trying to applaud themselves, much like they have. They put out a propaganda video based on like these gas stations. I don't know what they're called, Freedom Gas or some bullshit now. And they're allegedly charging some 40 or 50 cents less per gallon of gas, but they're still at about $3.50. Okay. And then they got this huge propaganda video that's been, spread by the White House and the official White House accounts, basically praising Donald Trump for bringing the gas price down to $3.50. And they're bragging about it. Remember where we were before the war started. So same thing with the Strait of Hormuz, bragging that, we're implementing a blockade, or bragging that we got 6 ships out or 12 ships out. What was the total traffic? What was the total number of ships that were to go through the Strait on a daily basis before this war started? And then you can compare and contrast exactly where we are in this situation. And it's nothing that, again, is deserving of praise. Quite the opposite. It deserves to be, you deserve to be removed. You deserve to be impeached as far as these situations are concerned.
I don't mind protecting it for China. I don't mind protecting it for anybody, but it's unfair that we're not in somehow compensated. And we've been doing this for many years. It's bothered me.
So again, there's Trump saying, on one hand, he doesn't like the fact that he could charge a fee, or anybody could charge a fee. On the other hand, saying that he's really happy and it's necessary for the United States to be reimbursed for their military efforts. Meanwhile, look at our budget for the Pentagon. Look at our budget for the military. And I'm sure these Gulf nations are laughing at Donald Trump's request as far as that's concerned. But all right, let's dive into, if I may, the latest ICE shooting. The latest fatal ICE shooting, which just continues to be a theme, continues to be something we've seen all across the country. This is a quick CNN clip here, just detailing the overview, giving us the general insights as to what happened as far as this situation is concerned. And then we'll get into a little bit more reporting. We got some posts here, and then I have the official Department of Justice rules and regulations that we're going to go through, you and I. That way, we're more informed, we're more educated than any of these ICE officers and DHS people that are now roaming the streets, actively brutalizing citizens, actively brutalizing and targeting brown and black people, and just shooting them in broad daylight. So we have a lot more to come from this. Like I said, their department policy on use of force, shooting into vehicles, all covered here. All pretty clear, very easy to understand, and we'll go through that in just a second. So, again, let's go into this CNN clip, just detailing the latest deadly ICE shooting, this time in Biddeford, Maine. 26-year-old victim that was shot while he was with his 3-year-old child in his vehicle, and we'll get into this here.
We are getting new details this morning about the young man shot and killed by ICE in Maine. He has been identified as 26-year-old Joan Sebastian Guerrero. According to a neighbor, he was a young father who worked hard to provide for his family. Now, the events surrounding the shooting,
again, this just days after we saw the latest or the other fatal shooting by ICE, as somebody was just attempting to go to work. And this time, we actually have a statement, I believe, from Homeland Security detailing their own guilt. Okay, so we'll go into this statement here. We have one from the Homeland Security just detailing outright their own guilt in this, and we'll get into that in just a second. But let's go through a little bit more about Joan Guerrero as far as the victim is in this situation here.
Unclear this morning, very unclear. A doorbell camera captured part of the gunfire.
Oh, is that a car?
So after the shots were fired, presumably, video showed Guerrero's car going around in circles as officers tried to stop it. Another video showed officers pulling his body out of the car. The department.
And again, disturbing video, as you can see, blurred here by CNN, of them pulling his deceased body out of the vehicle, basically throwing him on his head and handcuffing him on the ground. But you can see there the really disturbing images of the vehicle just slowly circling, you can assume that the victim here was deceased at the time, having already been shot by these ICE agents. We actually have Jen in the chat from Maine. Jen from Maine in the chat actually texted me and said that she was not far away from this when it was going on. Sent a couple videos of the media involvement and the hoopla surrounding it. But it just another very, very disturbing, depressing situation here with ICE. But exactly what we've seen from them as far as tactics, as far as what they're responsible for, is what they continue to perpetrate on the streets of this fucking country. This time in Biddeford, Maine being what, 89 to 90% white. I think it's about 2 to 3% Latino. So again, an area, a state that you wouldn't suspect would have these huge fucking ICE gangs roaming around to search out brown and black people just doesn't really make any sense. But nothing they do has made sense so far, and this is undoubtedly going to be defended. This is undoubtedly going to be kind of applauded even by the right, by the commanders, by Donald Trump himself, basically giving diplomatic immunity to every single one of these ICE officers now, and anybody affiliated with the DHS, mass deportation effort that we've continued to see lead to the deaths of now, what is this, the 11th fatal shooting that we've seen? 50 plus people died in captivity so far. So this is not a small problem. This is a huge, widespread, consistent theme that we've seen with these demented ICE agents that have put on the fucking paintball gear to go out there and cosplay as some military fucking heroes, right? Some Purple Heart recipients, some Medal of Honor recipients out there shooting paintballs and pepper spray and real bullets into U.S. citizens or citizens seeking asylum, people that had work permits like Yuan did here. So again, there's much more information to come from this in the lies that are being told by ICE and Homeland Security in general. But let's get a little bit more information here from this clip.
But of Homeland Security released a statement saying the officer opened fire, quote, fearing for public safety. Maine Senator Angus King spoke to CNN.
There's a lot of law, John, on police officers shooting at vehicles. And the bottom line is you have to either fear for your own safety or the safety of others. And so far, we haven't seen evidence of that.
All right, let's get right to CNN's Maria Santana, who is...
And again, I'll go to the statement here by Homeland Security, because that was half or a portion of the statement as CNN just gave there. But let's read the whole thing. This is Homeland Security, posted 6:40 p.m., July 13th, 2026. It says, on July 13th, 2026, at approximately 7 a.m. Eastern Time, ICE was conducting targeted surveillance on the last known address of an illegal alien with a final order of removal. An illegal alien departed the residence, which is already a lie based upon his work permits, most likely being an asylum seeker. It's just he had a social security number. So already a lie right here by Homeland Security. ICE law enforcement attempted to conduct a vehicle stop. The vehicle attempted to flee the scene, and fearing for public safety, so not fearing for his own life, not fearing for another officer's life, but fearing for public safety when the guy's with his child. Like, how much harm could he do to public safety or want to do to public safety being with his fucking child? You know what I mean? So they discharged, it says here, fearing for public safety, an officer discharged the weapon. So didn't think that he was a threat to himself. And again, we've talked about how a moving vehicle is much more of a threat to public safety if you kill the fucking driver. Like, if there's nobody in control of the vehicle, it's much more uncontrollable, much more unpredictable, and much more deadly than somebody being behind that vehicle, again, with their fucking, with their son or with their daughter that they're clearly not going to want to put in fucking harm's way there. It says the driver of the vehicle was struck. Emergency services were immediately contacted. He passed away from his injuries. The Biddeford Police Department and FBI responded to the scene. DHS, OIG had been notified, and likely, and like all discharge of firearms, this will be investigated. This is a developing situation, and we will update the public when more information is available. And what they mean is we will lie to the public as soon as we can figure out more lies to try to justify this shooting. And as you can see here, the rules and the regulations here stipulated by the manual, the U.S. Department of Justice manual and guideline handbook, whatever the fuck you want to call it. We got 1-16.000. Title 1, Organization and Functions, Department of Justice Policy on Use of Force. And you can go through it It's crazy how you can pull this up yourself and actually get educated on what they actually have to follow as far as rules and regulations. So you got the background, 1.16 is the use of deadly force and prohibited restraint techniques. 1.16.300 is de-escalation, clearly something they haven't gotten to yet. 1-16.4.0, affirmative duty to intervene, training, affirmative duty to render medical aid, application of the policy, clearly a lot of things that we could go through. All right, let's just start here. Is the background 1-16.100 as it pertains to the official Justice Department guidelines. It is the policy of the Department of Justice to value and preserve human life. Bullshit. Right off the bat, bullshit. We've seen the video. We've seen how you guys value and preserve human life, and that is to take out your firearm and discharge it into a moving vehicle, killing the occupant in it. Officers may only use the force that is objectively reasonable to effectively gain control of an incident while protecting the safety of officers and others, keeping the standards of Graham versus Connor. And it goes on, you can talk about here directly, use of deadly force and prohibited restraint techniques. A, deadly force. Law enforcement and correctional officers of the Department of Justice may use deadly force only when necessary. That is, when the officer has reasonable belief that the subject of such force poses an imminent danger of death or serious physical injury to the officer or another person. Deadly force may not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing suspect. Seems pretty clear, pretty concise as far as that's concerned. Number one, that's literally number one. Deadly force may not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing suspect. 2, firearms may not be discharged solely to disable moving vehicles. How many times now have we seen firearms discharged into vehicles to disable that vehicle, thus killing the occupant, thus seeing that vehicle go and careening out of control? It just seems like much more of a danger, much more of a threat, and force that doesn't need to be met in that situation. If you know where he came out of, right? You can get his license plate, much like in a lot of instances in police, police agencies all across the country have the rules and the policies in place for high-speed pursuits, right? A lot of the time that the officer can say, okay, this is too much of a risk to the public. Let's let him go. I got the license plate. We got information. Let's do our investigative work, and we can figure out an easier, safer way to kind of apprehend this suspect. How is that not thought of here? Okay, how is that not something that we could use here? Okay, we know where he came from. He's not wanted for fucking murder. He's actually not even the intended target of our investigation. So why don't we let him go? We'll figure it out who he is later. We can pick him up later. We can question him later. Let's not harm ourselves, him, or anybody else in the public. But that doesn't seem to be something that is logically thought by these fat fucking losers that throw themselves into this ICE agency now. And we've seen the recruitment tactics. They go after the white supremacists. They go after the white nationalists. They go after people that hate brown and black people. We've talked about their recruiting policies, the songs that they were using, the chants that they were using, the visual aids that they were attaching to some of these propaganda ads and recruitment tactics that they have. But number 2 here, firearms may not be discharged solely to disable moving vehicles. Specifically, firearms may not be discharged at a moving vehicle unless person in the vehicle is threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means other than the vehicle. So again, with a knife, with a gun, saying that I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill this person, which I don't think was something that we can reasonably suspect was taking place based upon the subject, based upon the victim here in this case. It says that death or serious physical injury to the officers or others, no other objective reasonable means of defense appear to exist, which includes moving out of the path of the vehicle, which we talked about time and time again when it came to what's her Nicole? My apologies, I'm forgetting her last name. It was Alex Preddy and Nicole Good. Sorry about that. Firearms may not be discharged from a vehicle except in exigent circumstances. In these situations, an officer must have articulable reason for this use of deadly force. So right off the bat, you can get out of the way and determine that we could pick this person up at a later time. Okay, we could figure out, we could question. We would go back to the house that we just saw him get out of, question the people there, get some more information on where he stays, if he lives there, if that's his vehicle, anything else that you could gather as far as information that could lead you danger to this suspect later on at a safer time, not endangering the public, not endangering the people in the vehicle or his son or his daughter or anything like that, depending on what subject or target that you're going after. It says, if feasible, and if to do so, it would not increase the danger to the officer or others, a verbal warning to submit to the authority of the officer shall be given prior to the use of deadly force. Warning shots are not permitted outside of prison context. And it goes on to talk about, obviously, areas of de-escalation, which we have not seen in every area, in every system, in every situation with ICE or DHS. We've seen them be the reason that the situation was escalated. They didn't try to calm down or quell the tensions on scene. They were the ones that ramped it up. They were the ones that went from 0 to 100 right off the fucking bat, leading to the response of the surrounding public, leading to the response of the people in question that we could talk about. It's right here. You know what I mean? You don't have to search far. It's not like this obscure shit that nobody knows and details and policies that can't be taught to these assholes. This is what it says. This is what you have to, the guidelines and the rules and the laws that you have to abide by if you're doing this fucking job, and not a single one of them seems to be abided by. We've seen now time and time again, officers actively discharge their weapons into moving vehicles, taking out, killing the victim. And we've learned that the victim posed no threat. The victim was either not the intended subject or the intended target, or some other things that lead us to believe that they just have just carelessness, disregard for human life as it pertains to brown and black people in this country. So let's just see if we can go through. I think there was a couple more of these. Let me go to these quotes as well. Let me throw this back on the screen. We'll see if anybody was calling out this post here by DHS. Even DHS doesn't say the driver tried to hit their agents. They shot and killed a father in front of his wife and child simply because he drove away. The vehicle attempted to flee the scene and fearing for public safety. An officer discharged his weapon, fleeing. The vehicle was driving away. That's murder. A legal resident of the United States is now dead. The threat to public safety is ICE. It must be eliminated. That was by George Conway. Midas Touch, they just described murder. Harry Sisson, this is ICE admitting that they murdered an innocent man in broad daylight. They offer no defense. It appears that his Department of Homeland Security just admitted to homicide in Maine. They literally just said that they shot the guy for, fleeing the scene with the 3-year-old. Did they actually think this makes things better? Again, directly against their policies, directly against what they're supposed to be doing. This is a murder confession. Woe indeed. DHS is not saying that the officer feared for his life. That is very notable in comparison to the other shootings. ICE murdered a 26-year-old in front of his wife and daughter. It's just pure evil. This statement makes clear that there was no threat whatsoever. Our taxpayer dollars are funding a fascist murder machine. Abolish ICE and prosecute anyone who carried out, ordered, and enabled these crimes. And that is posted by Congresswoman Yasemin Ansari. Keith Oberman says the DHS has confessed its agent alone tried, convicted, and executed a man who posed no lethal threat to him or other officers. Murder and conspiracy charges must be brought. And it goes on and on and on at people recognizing that this statement here by DHS pretty much, just details their guilt, details how they didn't follow policy and how that they deserve to be reprimanded and prosecuted based upon who was, in charge of this and who ultimately fired those shots. You feared for your life because the vehicle drove away, so you shot a man in front of his 3-year-old daughter. He wasn't even the suspect. You fucking bootlicking cowards. The next administration should make you rot in a cell, and I totally agree with all of that sentiment right there. Let's see. I think there was even more people going on to detail the fact that he had his work permit, that he had a social security number as well. Let me see. There's a couple more of these. DHS has been trying to claim the ICE agent feared for his life before killing a man in front of his own family. Now they're just going with the feared for public safety. So they admit they murdered him. Powerful House Democrat Ilhan Omar seemingly takes the side of illegal immigrant and lawless driver. So there's obviously the other side there, posted by Laura Loomer. Notably, this does not claim that the ICE agents were in danger, only that the vehicle tried to flee the scene, and for that, ICE executed him in front of his 3-year-old daughter. Unbelievable. DHS does not concoct false defense anymore because they and agents who killed the man have zero chance of facing any legal consequences. The banality of unaccountability. Again, just diplomatic immunity, complete and total immunity given to all of these ICE agents, DSS agents who have, again, shown that they can do what they want, where they want, how they want, when they want, and they just will not be reprimanded. They won't even be taken off the job, right? They won't even be fucking investigated. Let's see here. 3 important points from the DHS statement regarding the fatal shooting of the Colombian citizen in Maine. First, DHS confirmed that the ICE operation was aimed at detaining another immigrant who had his final deportation order. The deceased Colombian citizen was not the primary target. Second, unlike the initial reports, DHS does not claim this Colombian citizen attempted to run over the agents. Third, the statement does not provide sufficient details to determine whether the agent's use of force was justified. For that reason, I believe it is essential that all ICE agents use body cameras. That's another huge aspect of this, that they weren't using body cameras at the time of this situation, which was also something that we saw in the last fatal ICE shooting as well. So kind of a consistent theme of them not wanting the evidence there. And you see the footage coming out from the end of it of them handcuffing, taking his body out of the vehicle there, slamming his head onto the ground. Somebody else trying to do what I just did, going over their use of deadly force policy. But yeah, a lot of people here recognizing this for what it is. Another case of clear-cut murder in broad daylight by ICE against somebody looking for a better life, somebody looking to go to work, somebody looking to provide for his family and his daughter, trying to do things the correct way, as it were, and then just kind of got wrapped up in this mass deportation shootout that we have by this death cult, by this terror regime, the Trump administration. So unfortunately, just wanted to make sure that we continue to report on these activities and highlight these illegal activities and exactly how brutal of a policy is now being put in place and how much danger is now being seen here by brown and black people all over the country. It doesn't matter if you're legal. It doesn't matter if you're doing it the right way. You have every ability and opportunity to be caught up in something exactly like this. And if they deem you not to react in the way or manner that they want you to react in, then they just have the tacit permission to shoot inside your vehicle. This is one here. This is reported by Headquarters. The man shot and killed by ICE in Biddeford, Maine, has been identified as 26-year-old from Colombia, as we talked about. He was reportedly authorized to work in the United States and been issued a Social Security number. So again, just their original statement of calling him an illegal alien, trying to make it seem like he was fleeing the scene and causing danger to anybody else is just obviously not drawn out by what we see here in the footage and by the statements released there. But, what's it going to take? What's it going to take? How many people have to be shot in the head? How many people have to be shot in broad daylight by ICE before this country wakes up and realizes what the fuck's going on, right? Just because, we saw the specific situations in Minneapolis slow down doesn't mean that they filtered into the background, doesn't mean that they quit, these policies, doesn't mean that they quit terrorizing communities all over this fucking country. And we continue to see it here, in reality, in broad daylight, people dying every single day at the hands of ICE, it seems like. And they're just not following their own policies, their total disregard for human life, and their disdain and hatred for brown and black people all over this country. So it's unfortunate that we have to continue to report on this, but it's a must that we highlight every single instance, every single example of this administration breaking the law, killing its own citizens, killing people looking for a better life, so that we have all the evidence to prosecute these cocksuckers when we get back into power. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. The more power and reach that we have, the more subscribers that we have, the more ability we're going to have to hold these people to account. If it's not going to be done by the government, then we sure here will bash them to shit and make sure that people know exactly what they're responsible for. It's a shame, but I appreciate you guys, supporting us and trying to highlight all of these instances and make sure that people know what this administration is capable of and continues to do and perpetrate on a daily basis. But getting into more sycophancy here, what do we say we dive into this next clip here from Fox News? And we don't have to go through too much of this for you to see how insane and ridiculous this is. This is Jesse Waters and Scott Bessent praising the fact that Donald Trump's signature will now be on the, I don't know if it's just the $100 bill or all the bills. I don't really give a shit, to tell you the truth. It's another reason as to why I will never be looking at cash if I can avoid it. But yeah, this is Jesse Waters and Scott Bessent jerking each other off at the Treasury, looking at Donald Trump's signature on a $100 bill. So I just wanted to let everybody know, and have everybody recognize what it takes to keep this administration going, like the lies and the sycophancy and the propaganda that it takes to keep people, the MAGA cult, as dumb as they are and on the side of this administration. Like, this is the shit that they have to do. This is the shit that they have to talk about and report on, as opposed to, again, the economic pressures felt worldwide because of the war in Iran, the lies that Donald Trump told as far as the cost of living, ending the war in Ukraine, and everything else that we could add to that list. The strategic oil reserves that are looking more and more likely like we're going to head over that cliff before we see any resolution to the war with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz in general. But this is just, one of the ridiculous moments that needs to be called out here. Jesse Waters and Scott Bessent jerking each other at the Treasury.
I hear there might be a new brand of currency around the corner.
Well, no, it's not a new brand of currency, you absolute jack tit. What in the fuck? A new brand of currency? No. Same currency, dickhead. Same thing. Just going to have his fucking demented signature on it. Like, what? A new brand of currency? What do you think this is?
It's same currency, just different series.
No, same currency, you idiot. When you got Scott Bessent correcting you, when you have Scott Bessent looking more, educated and charismatic than you do, you know you got fucking problems.
And it's going to look different.
Well, it's gonna have.
No, it's not going to look different. What? What? No, it's money. It's U.S. currency. It's the same shit. Just a different signature. What the fuck are you talking about, Jesse? No wonder he had to pop his wife's tires to get her a fucking ride home so that he could fucking schmooze her over. Like, what? No, I don't know, self-respecting woman would honestly give Jesse Waters the opportunity. And then if they did afford him the opportunity to stay with him, unless Jesse Waters had popped all their tires and they were stranded on the side of the road and he offered a ride home, of course, while he's married to somebody else. Anyway, that's a side story. But yeah, no, Jesse, it's not going to be total. It's not going to be fucking Wonka bucks. Okay. You're not looking for a golden ticket in a Wonka bar. It's U.S. currency. It's the $100 bill. It's just going to have his fucking idiotic signature on it.
One big change on it for the 250th, the president's signature is going to be on it for the first time. So I think it's fitting.
That's the change right there. So that's literally the change. That's his. Somehow, as he tries to get people to believe, that says Donald Trump, apparently. I don't know how it does. I don't know where you can get Donald Trump out of that at all, ever. But that's the change. And Jesse Waters thinks we're doing like, Monopoly money, apparently. It's going to be all different bright colors. And it's going to be a totally different way of paying for shit.
Our 250th anniversary. So it'll be the president's signature and my signature on it.
Let's go take a look.
Let's go take a look.
Yeah, let's go take a look. Let's go take a look at our dear Führer's signature on this $100 bill.
Dollar bills.
Jesse, welcome to the Treasurer's office. It's when we have 3 museum offices.
How is he so fat? Is Scott Bessent pregnant? Is there some rapid advance in fucking medical technology that I'm not aware of? Like, what is going on? How does, like, everybody in Donald Trump's administration stands like that? Or is it like he's like the opposite of Trump? You know what I mean? He's like the Trump. He's like the yin to Trump's yang. Trump's facing forward. Scott Bessent's just backwards, belly out the whole time. Like, what the fuck is happening?
In Treasury, and this is one of them.
This is a beautiful office with a great view of the new big, beautiful ballroom.
It's big and it's beautiful.
It's almost finished.
Oh my Jesus Christ. It's big and it's beautiful. Yes, it is. Like, shut the fuck up.
It's going fast. going fast.
Donald Trump's signature will be on a $100 bill.
Well, it's going to be on all the currency for the 250th.
Everything.
Yes. So that as Treasury Secretary, I only have 2 mandates. The currency has to say "In God We Trust" somewhere on it, and there cannot be a image of a living person, but we have the president's signature. Which again,
yeah, so this is the next best thing that they could offer Trump, right? You can't do a living president's like picture on it. You can't give him, his own bill while he's still alive. Which again, I'll take that trade-off. I will. I'll take that trade-off any day of the week if you can kind of read between the lines of what I'm getting at on that one. But, Donald Trump was probably persistent that he wanted his face on the bill, and Scott Bessent, the next best thing he could give him was his own signature on the currency nowadays.
I think it is appropriate for the 250th. During the 150th, there was a Calvin Coolidge coin, so we can put living people's images on a coin. The president's also going to have a coin coming out.
Jesus Christ.
With his image on it. We could put your image on it.
Let's not get carried away.
Well, people might hoard. People might hoard it. So
My family, and that's it.
Yes, will you stop hitting on Jesse, please? You fucking freak. Get him on Grindr, where all the other Republicans do their work behind the scenes. Don't do it on Fox News, please, Scott. But yeah, I just showing you how demented, deluded, sycophantic these people are, and why, just basically what it takes to continue to get an administration to run like this. And, these state-run news agencies that have to act like this, that have to praise and prop up these ridiculous things, and the fucking Trump botch, and the ballroom, and the reflecting pool, everything that goes along with what Fox News and OAN and Newsmax and the rest of these channels have to do in order to stay on the good side of the administration, stay on the good side of Donald Trump, is exactly this. But let's go into now a little bit about Donald Trump's speech that he's going to be giving on Thursday, and a little bit of the reporting coming from what he's likely to be talking about. There's now a lot more speculation, a lot more reporting going on as to suggest it will be about the 2020 election, and it's going to be batshit crazy. I just buckle the fuck up. Smoke them if you got them. If you got some adult beverages, drink them ahead of time, because I assure you there's going to be some batshit crazy nonsense coming out of this speech. This is reported here by Mediaite. It says Trump will use primetime speech to claim newly declassified intel reveals foreign plot to interfere in 2020 election, which is where I'm getting the Maduro involvement, right? Would you put it past this administration for giving Nicolas Maduro some sort of deal? Okay, we will no longer keep you in solitary confinement. We'll set you up in fucking Nantucket or somewhere in Florida or California with your own little estate. You can kind of live out the rest of your days in confinement there, and we'll get you a butler and all this shit. All you got to do there, Nicky boy, is just tell the American people that you had some plot, or you knew about some plot of another country to interfere in the 2020 election. Would you put that past this administration? I'll give you a second. Go ahead. Think amongst yourselves. Answer in the chat. I'll answer it for you. No, don't put it past this administration. We heard fucking Hugo Chavez in Italy, in satellites in China. We heard it all coming out originally after the 2020 election. So what's to say that 6 years later, this shit isn't going to work its way back up? What's to say that Sidney Powell isn't going to be stood by Donald Trump's left shoulder at this fucking press conference, or at this speech he's going to give here? Like, it's going to be batshit crazy. And another aspect of this, which we'll get into next, and Ossoff had a response to it, is another Mediaite article here about Ossoff and Warnock firing back at the report that Trump will announce Georgia and their wins as senators were illegitimate. That's how batshit crazy. Like, we could have something with Italy, Hugo Chavez, Nicolas Maduro, Sidney Powell's fucking demented comments and theories, and also the fact that our president of the United States is going to call the two sitting Georgia senators illegitimate. He's just going to what? He's going to say that they have no power, no control, and they should be replaced by Republicans. The Republicans are stealing the midterm elections. I'll say it again. The Republicans are stealing the midterm elections. And it's not just one policy. It's not just one plan. It's not just one tactic. It is a shitload of tactics that they're trying to now utilize to mitigate the ass kissing, the fucking drubbing, the punch is square in the jaw that they know they're about to get in midterm elections. So again, whether that's winning outright, depending on how successful they are at a lot of these missions, or just mitigating the losses, right? Not losing to the extent that they knew or know that they're going to be losing in the upcoming midterm elections. They are stealing the elections. I repeat, again, for the people in the fucking back, the Republican Party is stealing the midterm elections. Clip this, send it out to your friends and fucking family, put it on social media, wake the fuck up. Okay, because it's been too obvious for too long that this is something that they were going to enact. Okay, that this is something that they were going to try. As soon as they saw the immediate polling coming out of the sentiment of the American people and how fucking pissed off they were at the lies that they were told by Donald Trump and his administration, they started this. And well before that, credit where credit is due to these maniacal fucking pricks behind the scenes to come up with some corrupt way to stay in power or to enrich themselves off the back of the presidency, whatever it may be. But they've gone into fucking high gear now, whether it's, threatening ICE action on different states in order to gain access to their voter rolls so that they could throw people legitimately off of the voter rolls so that when you show up to the polls, you're no longer on the list. And then you have to go through, the rigmarole of getting back on the list. And who knows if that can be done on that day. So you might miss your opportunity to to cast your vote in whatever elections are taking place, right? The Save America Act, where he wants to do away with mail-in voting, where he wants to make it more difficult for people in rural areas and brown and black people and people and women that have changed their names due to marriage to get access to the polling stations, to get onto the voter registration rolls, right? We talked about their little tactic that they have of say a John Smith is found to have done something in their state that requires them to be removed from the voting rolls, requires them to be, ineligible to vote, whether it's a felony conviction, whatever it may be. Well, we've seen them now take John Smith off of the voter roll, but all of the John Smiths. Okay. And again, I'm utilizing that name as an example, but you could see how that would go into play. And then the least amount of people that vote, the better off it is for Republicans. So they're doing everything they possibly can. We talked about the leaked memo that went out and how they were trying to change all of the mail-in voting laws. We've seen the actual policies that have gone into effect with the United States Postal Service as it pertains to the dates in which that you have to get your mail-in votings, your mail-in votes sent in by, how the ballots have to be signed and dated and stuff like that. So I continue to reiterate, make sure you guys are up to speed on your counties and states' new policies, the changes to mail-in voting or voting in general, so that you guys aren't thrown a curveball, so that you guys aren't showing up or have your ballots discounted because you didn't fucking dot the I and cross the T in the way that they want you to. So make sure you guys are looking this shit up. It is extremely important. And to continue to raise the alarms on shit just like this and everything that Donald Trump is going to espouse Thursday night, and I'm sure much more in his Thursday night address. Let's go on. We'll just read a little bit about this in the reporting going into it. So this is, like I said, Mediaite. President Donald Trump will reportedly use his primetime address on Thursday night to push specific new claims that the 2020 election was stolen from him. On Monday afternoon, Trump announced on Truth Social that he'd be giving a Thursday speech. The third-person post read, and he's been very reluctant, as you'll see in an upcoming Greg Kelly clip, to give anybody any real indication as to what the new specific claims will be. He's kind of keeping it close to the collar because he knows the second he releases it, it's going to be picked apart, it's going to be called out, and it's going to be debunked, much like everything else was debunked as it pertained to the 2020 election in all 60 or so court cases that Donald Trump took to courts all over the country. All of the work that Rudy Giuliani did and foughting his way around the fucking different counties in the United States and leaking oil on everybody. But yeah, this says that his post talked about the speech to the nation on Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Says at this time, it was unclear what Trump would talk about during the speech. On Deadline, White House MS Now, Nicole Wallace has revealed that Trump's speech would focus on the 6-year-old election, citing a report that network's Jake Traylor. And then it went on to say that specifically the president will reportedly point to newly declassified reports he claims will show foreign interference in the 2020 election, she added. Again, the foreign interference that, Russia has been trying to perpetrate. I doubt he's going to come out and talk about Russia's involvement in trying to affect change in our elections. I doubt that's not what he's, of course, he's not going to bring that up. But it says Donald Trump appears to be taking his assault on truth and then democracy in American elections to prime time. MS Now is now reporting that Trump will deliver an address Thursday evening where he plans to unveil another round of lies about why he lost the 2020 election to Joe Biden. This time claiming the newly declassified reports reveal foreign interference in that election that his own government didn't know about at the time, lies that seemed to conveniently obscure that he was president of the United States at the time. All of his handpicked people ran every facet of the government in 2020. His handpicked Attorney General, Bill Barr, ran the Justice Department. His handpicked replacement, Jim Comey, Christopher Wray, ran the FBI. Both of them have repeatedly and publicly debunked these lies that there were any foreign interference. So again, the batshit craziness pursues. It just persists. Okay. So he's going to claim that while he was president of the United States, while he had clear control over Bill Barr in the Justice Department, clear control over Christopher Wray in the FBI, and that both of those people have consistently stated that there was no foreign involvement to persuade or change the outcome of the 2020 election, Donald Trump's now going to utilize these same talking points 6 years later in his big Thursday night primetime address. So let's see here. I just want to see what Ossoff had to say responding. Oh, was I not reading the right one or showing you guys the right one? My apologies, but you guys got the point of it. But this is Ossoff and Warnock firing back at Donald Trump about his announcement that Georgia, the senators were, elected illegitimately. So let's see here what they had to say in response. Said that Senator John Ossoff of Georgia and Senator Raphael Warnock, both of Georgia, wasted no time attacking a report claiming President Donald Trump plans to push long debunked conspiracy theories about Georgia's 2020 election, results in an upcoming speech, with Ossoff slamming the commander-in-chief as a fearful, quote, failed president. Ossoff and Warnock were elected by a razor-thin margins in the heated 2020 elections, with both races going to runoffs. As I'm sure you remember, the pair helped Democrats take control of the chamber as Trump also lost the White House to Joe Biden, a defeat the president has yet to accept. Trump announced on Monday via Truth Social, as we just talked about, his intent to push new allegations about the 2020 election and the legitimacy of Ossoff and Warnock's victories. Ossoff went on the offensive in a scathing X-post tying Trump's speech and conspiracies to the upcoming midterms and his own opponent, Rep. Mike Collins. Donald Trump's spiral continues. The failed president, pocketing billions as he drives up prices, is afraid to lose the midterms, Ossoff wrote, so he will reheat debunked election conspiracy theories and tell bizarre new lies to deny his 2020 defeat and attack voting rights. This is a disaster for Trump. Puppet Mike Collins, he added. As you can see here, here's Ossoff's post. And he's 100% right. This is not just pertaining to, Donald Trump's maniacal view of the 2020 election. This is absolutely a lot to do with the upcoming midterm elections and them trying to, again, affect any change they possibly can, whether it's, kicking out Ossoff and Warnock based off of their illegitimacy or any other, tactic that they can utilize to that effect as well. It says, quote, already mired in scandal, Mike will now have to double down on conspiracy theories toxic in the general election. From the start, Trump's obsession with Georgia elections revealed his fury that black voters were instrumental to his defeat. I'm asking concerned citizens nationwide to join me and support our voter protection efforts in Georgia. That was what Warnock posted on X. He says, Donald Trump is at war with our democracy and Georgia is ground zero. But this is John Lewis's Georgia. We are not intimidated. We are not moved. Mr. President, instead of attacking our democracy, why don't you do something about the high cost of gas, housing, and health care? Donald Trump is trying to cast doubt on the 2020 election. He interfered in. We'll see what he's doing, and it will not work. He stayed vigilant, as he says there. But yeah, this is just a portion of some of the batshit craziness that we're likely to hear or see from Donald Trump in his Thursday night address. Again, don't rule anything out, ladies and gentlemen. Italy, satellites, Raphael Warnock, Nicolas Maduro, Hugo Chavez, Sidney Powell. Wouldn't be surprised if he brings back the fodder-in-chief himself, Rudy Giuliani. You know what I mean? But he had a little bit more to say about this. Let me see. I'll play this one quick because that's a longer clip, longer segment there. I'll throw this one on real quick because it pertains more to his speech on Thursday. And I just want to show you how reluctant he is. I think he was also asked again at his press conference with the Prime Minister of Iraq about what he was going to speak about in this address, and he gave a very similar response, which is just basically saying, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to reveal it now, which lends me to the ability to believe that everything he's about to espouse is batshit crazy, as I continue to say, because if it wasn't, he'd have no problem telling everybody about it now and not just in this prime time address. But there's just a minute, a little bit more than a minute segment here, or a clip of Donald Trump, or Greg Kelly asking Donald Trump what he's about to talk about in this Thursday address. And you can hear Donald Trump's unwillingness to want to divulge the specifics of what he's going to discuss.
You have a prime time address scheduled for Thursday. some competing ideas, what it's about. Can you give us a preview at all? What will happen Thursday night?
Well, I'm going to talk about various things, but I'd rather not say, because if I say, maybe it's going to take some of the guilt off. I think what's going to...
If I say, maybe it's going to take some of the guilt off, which I'm sure you'll recognize makes absolutely no sense whatsoever in conjunction with what he's talking about in relation to the sentence that he was saying. I don't know what the fuck it would take the guilt off. What, your guilt of lying to the American people, lying to the world about what happened during the 2020 election where you got your fucking ass handed to you? I'm just saying. I'm just, going out on a limb here. But yeah, you can see here that he doesn't want to talk about it. He's much too afraid that it's going to be debunked before he gets the ability to announce it, which is exactly what would happen here if he decided to talk about the specific allegations that he's about to espouse on Thursday night.
This is G-I-L-T. When I look at this...
Wait, I'm sorry. Did he just attempt to spell guilty and spell it G-I-L-T-Y? I'm sorry. What? One more time on that one?
Maybe it's going to take some of the guilt off. I think what's going to... This is G-I-L-T.
No. Stop it. Stop it right now. Did he just spell guilt G-I-L-T? Am I fucking losing it? Am I losing it here? Like, I am I Salty, save me, dude. Save me from this insanity. Am I fucking losing it? Like, is this another D-U-M-B, take the B off, and it's Democrats? Who knew there was a B at the end of dumb type thing? What the fuck? The president of the United States just spelled guilt G-I-L-T. I shit you not. One more time.
When I look at this, when I look at what's happened in this country, so much with the elections, when I look at how rigged our elections are, look at Spencer.
Oh, hold on. I think I went too far. I don't think I caught it right. Let me see. We'll go back and hear that one more time.
But I'd rather not say, because if I say, maybe it's going to take some of the guilt off. I think what's going to... This is G-I-L-T.
Fuck me in the goat ass. Oh, man. There was people out there being like, I really don't think that he knew there was a B at the end of dumb. Like, I just really think that he just recently learned that there was a B at the end of dumb. And I'm like, I can't be. You know what I mean? I know he's he's a demented idiot child brain moron. I understand all that, but you at least think you'd know there was a B at the end of dumb. Well, it's sentences like this, which, again, clip this. Please clip this. This is the president of the United States attempting to spell the word guilt, which, again, in case anybody's unaware in the chat, is G-U-I-L-T and not G-I-L-T. But here we go. Let me go. There we go. Clip it.
I'd say, because if I say, maybe it's going to take some of the guilt off. I think what's going to... This is G-I-L-T. When I look at this,
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Hold on. Hold on. Am I? Wait a minute. What's the conversation now? What's the conversation now going on? Hold on. Give me a second. I gotta. Okay. Now I'm second guessing myself. You guys got me second guessing myself in the chat. Surface is a thin layer of gold, or okay, I got you. So it makes sense in the brain of Donald Trump, I guess, because guilt is the thin layer of gold or gold-colored substance, which makes sense in in relation to the White House, but not in anything that he's talking about here. I mean, come on, that's a fucking stretch by anybody's imagination. You know what I mean? We're talking about guilt as far as the fucking 2020 election. He's not talking about guilt as far as gold. You know what I mean? Come on. Let's not beat around the bush. I ain't giving him that much credit. Fuck that.
Country so much with the elections. When I look at how rigged our elections are, look at Spencer Pratt. Spencer Pratt was an easy number 2 and maybe number 1, but certainly number 2. And all of a sudden they had the mail-in.
So he's using Spencer Pratt now to justify the lies that he told about the 2020 election. Oh, it gets crazier.
Ballots pour in, and Spencer Pratt was gone. That was in Los Angeles. Spencer Pratt was gone, and that was easy. And who beat him in no name? Who beat him in no name? All of a sudden, so great that she got practically 100% of the votes from the mail-in ballots. The whole thing, our elections are crooked, and we've got to straighten them out. We got to have voter ID. We got to have proof of citizenship, and we have to do something about the mail-in ballots.
So again, this is all in a ploy, in an attempt to push his Save America Act, which again doesn't have the necessary votes whatsoever in order to pass, but that's not going to stop him in order to try to do that. But yeah, let me see if I could, let's go back to this one, because this was just a sit down or phone conversation, I should say, between Greg Kelly, a longer segment of that phone conversation. I just have a few timestamps to go through. Again, I'm not going to subject you to the entirety of this 12-minute clip of the two dumbest people on television here, Greg Kelly and Donald Trump, but we'll go through just a couple because he's questioned at 2:40 into this about Lindsey Graham's sister just kind of taking over his position. And like, where the fuck do we get off in seeing that this is something that should happen? I think the last time that I saw this, as we were talking about last night in the Zoom, was on an episode of West Wing, where I believe the wife died and the husband took over her seat until a special election or the upcoming election. But as far as like what gives her the ability to just step in for Lindsey Graham and start governing till January is beyond me. Like, I don't understand how we could just fucking handpick people to take somebody's replacement and have it be their sister because she traveled with him a lot. I don't know. But here's a question by Greg Kelly about what happened with Lindsey Graham. I don't know if this is specifically about his sister or just his health complications, but let's see. And I think it was, what was the term? Aortic dissection, if I'm not mistaken, which is the reported cause of death of Lindsey Graham, which I believe is the rupture of the artery walls. I think there's obviously somebody in the chat that's more medically inclined than I am. So correct me if I'm wrong, or, get me to the promised land if I'm somewhere near that. But I do believe that's what it was, aortic dissection. And it was kind of the tearing, ripping of the artery lining, thus leading to, bad things happening. Tell you the truth. You know what I mean? But here's just a couple segments here. I want to go through that. Distant Galaxy says that is correct. Much appreciated. Laurie says correct. So I think I knew I was somewhere in the vicinity on that one. So much appreciated. I always rely on you guys in the chat. Always somebody smarter than me in the chat. The quicker that content creators and people that have podcasts and live streams realize that, the easier it is to go to the chat and ask them for corrections and, say that you don't know something, right hand up type of thing. But yeah, I think it was more along the lines. What's it say? Pam says, I think Lindsey called his sister and she called 911. As far as the incident is concerned, yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about, and not saying that you're referencing that in any way, Pam, separate sentence, but my concern is everybody else's concern. Why the fuck does she get the opportunity now just to step in? Like, what qualifications does she have? She's not a politician. Like, why do we all of a sudden just have, oh yeah, we'll pick his sister and she can do the work until January, until we have the upcoming election necessary to determine an outcome and a new winner. It seems ridiculous to me. You know what I mean? But all right, here's where he's questioned about Graham. I think Graham's sister in this one, and then I have about 2 or 3 more timestamps to go through, and then we'll get into some of the Ukraine coverage as well before I get you guys out of here. So appreciate you guys if you could hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I know it may not feel like it, but it does go a long way in helping boost this channel up in the algorithm. A lot of the content, a lot of the subject matter that we speak about is not is not the type that gets boosted itself in the algorithm. algorithm. The fact that we don't allow any ads or get any monetary value off of ad revenue for these live streams goes to help YouTube kind of keep their boot on the neck, as it were. So if you guys could try to help mitigate the algorithm and help mitigate the fact that YouTube doesn't really boost people if they're not making them buku amounts of money, that would be fantastic. But yeah, here's just a couple segments of Greg Kelly, the dumbest man on television, talking to Donald Trump, the dumbest man to ever hold the position of president of the United States.
Sir, his sister looks like she's interim. Would you see yourself endorsing for the next round? I know you liked Pamela Evett, the lieutenant governor, when she was running for governor. I don't think she's running for the seat herself, Ms. Nardone. You have any thoughts about what happens after this?
Well, yeah.
Is it just me, or is it a little weird? Like when you don't have a spouse, when you don't have any kids, when you don't have any, I don't know, anything really, to have your sister around so much? I don't know. I'm just throwing that one out there a little bit. Like, why is he kind of
Your sister is going to be interim, and she's a terrific person. Lindsay loved her. They had a great relationship. They got along really well, and
right, she was just as much of a neocon. She loved blood, bloodshed just as much as Lindsay did. She hated brown and black people just as much as Lindsay did. So she'll fit right in with the Republicans. So you can see an obvious choice there. But it's just like, what is the rules and the regulations? You know what I mean? Is it just like this? Pick anybody you choose in this situation. Anybody could be chosen to represent or to take his position in the next until January or until upcoming elections, because that's what it seems like, because she has no qualifications whatsoever. You know what I mean? I don't know what her job title is. I don't know what she does in her spare time or for work or in her career whatsoever, but I don't know. It just seems really fucking weird that this is even something that could happen in a democracy where, maybe you'd have the special elections necessary to determine an outcome, determine a winner that the people choose and not the president of the United States chooses himself. But that's him saying that basically because she was surrounding Lindsey Graham so much, that she was around so much, that she's automatically qualified to be a fucking, to be a senator here. But there was another one where he's questioned at about 4:05 about the Strait of Hormuz and who controls the Strait. So let me see if we can dive into that clip.
Released a new role for the United States. Two things. Who controls the Strait right now? Is it ours? Is it theirs? Is it neutral? And how would this Yeah,
we control it.
Both sides control it. It's both opened and closed, if you can make that make sense, but it's the truth. Both sides actively control it. Well, they say they actively control it, and it's closed and opened. You know what I mean? You can say it's open because some ships are making it through. You can also say it's closed because it's a very small percentage based upon how many ships were actually traveling through the Strait before the war started. And again, both sides, with the blockade in the United States side, with the missiles and drone attacks by the Iranian side, say that they have control over this. And again, everybody's paying the price. Both sides are trying to win the propaganda war. Both sides are trying to win, we've struck more targets or we can inflict more damage than the other side with no movement. There's no movement internationally. There's no movement, as far as the peace process is concerned. It's just literal nonsensical, useless warfare. Just complete and total expenditure of our stockpiles and, taxpayer money for no gain, for no benefit at this point in time. It is so unbelievably stupid. And then, like I said earlier in the show, it's not like we're even taking out their military. You know what I mean? It's not like every single one of these strikes, you hear the Iranians saying, oh, they had 20 or 30 personnel taken out, which, again, you could say would be leading us to, victory as a war is supposed to be won. But that's not even what we're doing. We're just hitting these random sites that they wheel their drones up to, launch the drones, where they were launched from restruck. They can wheel their drones to another site with it's insane. It's fucking insane. And the threat posed to the world economy, again, talking about the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, if that comes into play, what are we seeing as a result of these bombings? What are we seeing as a result of the military activity? Because it's certainly not benefit to the United States. It's certainly not. Stability. It's certainly not peace in the Middle East. So what the fuck are we doing?
They can make trouble. They can do things that are not nice, but we control it. We've knocked out most of their radar, a lot of their ammunition. A lot of their weapon launchers, they have the.
So it went from all of their weapons, all of their radar sites, all of their drones and missiles to most Okay, see how he's changing it up now? Because it's impossible for him to continue to say all, while we continue to see U.S. bases in the surrounding area being hit with missiles and drones. Okay, while we continue to see ships in the Strait of Hormuz being shot at with either warning shots or struck directly. You just can't continue to say that, and you sound like a moron. So now he's kind of had to change his tune to like, it's most of them, even though, most is not what we've heard from the U.S. intelligence agencies, where they have 70 or more % of their missile and drone stockpiles that they had pre-war levels still to their, to be able to be utilized by them.
Missile launchers. We've knocked out drones. We've knocked out missiles, and we control it, and we're going to keep doing it. And we're putting our blockade. The blockade was a tremendous success. It was there for 2 months, and nobody got through.
Yeah, blockading an already blockaded closed strait. Really, really big success. Didn't bring the Iranians to the negotiating table with hat in hand, waving a white flag with all-out unconditional surrender. They continue to this moment to launch against U.S. bases and ships in the strait. But boy, oh boy, was that blockade beautiful. Well done. Well done. Didn't achieve shit, but it looked great. It looked fucking fantastic. So, and then there was another one here where he's questioned about Thomas Crooks. So about 2 years after Donald Trump didn't get shot by anybody and got ricocheted by a piece of glass coming off of the teleprompter, he's asked again about Thomas Crooks, which oddly has filtered into the background. You'd think, somebody like Donald Trump that was shot at and saw this to be such a miracle moment and, values his life and, hates the people that despise him. You'd think he'd be more willing to talk about this case, more apt to bring this situation up and to reveal some things about the case and the person. But oddly, doesn't say much about it. Doesn't even really give much information here when he's questioned on it by Greg Kelly. Check this out.
Man would have been maybe a lot stronger today had he lived, but he didn't live.
Well, they want to take you out, as you know, and some of us suspect that they had a role in Butler, a suspect. Somebody was arrested, I believe convicted right around there, an Iranian who was out to get you. Have you learned anything significant about the shooter Crooks? Say, it's 2 years ago today, Butler, but in the last couple of months.
And Greg is just really shit at shaving. Either that, he just had a brown popsicle. I'm not sure. Because that's either a shaving cut in the center of his lip there, or again, he just couldn't get the rest of the chocolate popsicle off his face before he got on air.
Out Crooks and the phone and everything about anything about that guy. It's just
Get my shoes, lower the flag, get the fucking photographers over here. Hold on, keep me in the line of sight of the fucking sniper. Let me stay right here. Don't completely block me. Let me get my fist up in the air so that the fucking sniper can recognize and differentiate between. I'll get that word right at some point. I know I tried it twice. I failed twice. I'm not trying it again. Differentiate. I did it. Yes, go. Let's go. I can get there. In the end. But let them know that they can see the difference between the Secret Service and the President of the United States. All the things that we can see here from this one picture and the ensuing video coming from this situation where everything just happened to line up perfectly for these shots to happen.
Bizarre.
Well, we watch it, and I watch it all the time, and he shouldn't have been where he was.
He watches it all the time. That's
he should have been.
Can you picture Donald Trump just sitting there in the Oval Office, just replaying time and time again the fucking time where he almost got shot?
Frankly, but that was the mistake they made. The Secret Service made that mistake. And they've done a lot of things right. They've done almost everything right.
And there's been more video released since this, where, it's just, you could see Thomas Crooks kind of, roaming and scouting the rooftops. You can see him scouting the area. So as much as he'd like to give the anti-sniper, as he calls him, the credit for taking him out in 4 seconds, like, again, there was so many fucking security lapses and failures leading up to that moment that it seems a little foolish to be like, oh, well, at least he took him out in 4 seconds after he got the shot off. It's like, seems to be a little ridiculous to give that, situation in specific portion of this situation the praise while, discounting the rest of the security failures and nightmares. And then this last part is the last one, and then we'll get into the Ukraine coverage to get you guys out of here. But Mitch McConnell. He's questioned on Mitch McConnell. So I'm just curious here if he knows anything. You would think the president of the United States and, one of his main supporters, one of his main allies, somebody that's been heavily involved in getting his legislation passed or getting his agenda passed in Mitch McConnell, you would think that he would have some insight as to whether or not the guy was dead or alive at least. But even Donald Trump says here that, he's questioned about what's going on at Mitch McConnell's health. And he says he has no fucking idea, no clue. No necessity to shoot him a text message. Clearly, Mitch McConnell hasn't contacted the president. You would think if he's calling Scott Jennings of CNN, you would maybe reach out to the president and say, hey, can you tell everybody I'm alive? But that doesn't seem to be the case. But listen to how he kind of just brushes this aside and says, I don't know, don't care, don't know. Just a really weird way of the president responding to this. Really spotlight grabbing headline of a story where people are really interested and determined to figure out what health status Mitch McConnell currently has. And Trump's just like, I don't fucking know. Who knows?
I respect your time. Did you see the video, or the picture, I should say, of Mitch McConnell this weekend? And what do you think of his outlook? What are you hearing?
Well, I don't hear much.
What'd you think about the fact that there was 47 walls in this picture? What do you think about the fact that Elaine Chao's only wearing one earring? What do you think about the fact that Elaine Chao somehow can manage to get her entire fucking small hand around the entirety of Mitch McConnell's elbow? What do you think about the fact that Mitch McConnell's wearing, a button down and jeans in a hospital bed where he's supposedly been laid up for about a month or so? What do you think about the newspaper that was apparently from either the day before or the day after? I forget at this point. There's been so much reporting to go on with this and people suggesting different things. But what do you think about all these discrepancies? What do you think about the fact that somehow Mitch looks better than he did before this health episode? What do you think about the fact that his hands are a completely different color than what they were before this health episode? I'm just curious about what you think about all these little things that people are picking out about this picture.
Never a huge fan, but he's one of the people. He should be voting for John Thune because, John Thune was loyal to him with the election.
So right into voting for John Thune. Did he even mention Mitch McConnell and what he knew?
Never a huge fan. Well, I don't hear much. I was, never.
I don't hear much. I was never a huge fan. The response from Donald Trump to, again, somebody in his party that has been very consequential, whether he likes him or not, at passing his legislation and blocking on the opposite side of the aisle legislation from the Democrats that gave Donald Trump the ability to put in his Supreme Court justices. And, the list continues as to what Mitch McConnell has been responsible for as far as the Republicans' legislation. Don't care, fuck them type of thing, which is crazy for the president to say. But all right, let's say I know you guys have got your thoughts and opinions on what that picture actually looks like and represents and shit. Let me know in the chat what you guys think that's from. If it's fake, if you think it's real AI from an earlier photo, if it's real and just from like another time, but they're trying to pass it off as being more recent. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. But all right, let's dive on to here our final few segments that we got for the show today. And as I state, this is one of the last shows. I think the only show that we have left is tomorrow's afternoon show. I think I should be able to squeeze that in before we take our journey, our departure to Europe to ultimately hand over the NAFO 69 Stiffer Brigade with the Help 99 crew, the vehicle that we were responsible for raising. You in the community here, the Blunt Politics family was responsible for raising over to the men and women of the 3rd Operational Battalion. So please, if you want to stick around for that journey, OPSEC in mind. Obviously, I might be a few days, delayed on what I could post, depending on where it is. Obviously, I'll get more instructions when we get the group together. So I'm going to do my best to bring you guys along for whatever portions of the journey and experience that I could bring you along for. Obviously, I think we have about 7 more super chats. I think we're about 7 away. We could be even more depending on who sent in a milestone, how many milestones are in there, but another 7 or so super chats, and that will give me the opportunity and the ability to buy some souvenirs along the way. And I will come back and I will return and I will pick out at least one, if not a couple different people in the chat and I'll give you guys these, these souvenirs, the merchandise, whatever I pick up along the way from my journey. So if we could get to that 30 super chat goal, that would be fantastic. And you know me, even if we don't exactly get there, I'm sure that I will take care of you guys either way. But all right, let's dive into a couple updates that we got here. One is from Preston Stewart about the Russian losses, which I'm going to throw on the screen now. And then we got one here from Dennis Davidov about the recent Ukrainian attacks over the last 24 hours, which have been numerous. And then we have one more here from, I don't know, either one of the bravest women or one of the dumbest women from Russia, who continues to highlight and document the ongoing fuel and petrol and food shortages in and around Moscow. So the prominent areas of Russia as well. But before we do that, let's get into this Preston Stewart video detailing a little bit more about the recent Russian losses. This is Ukraine just took 28,000 Russians off the battlefield. So let's see what updates we can get from this. And then we'll get into those last couple clips, and then I will thank you guys and get you guys out of here until tomorrow. All right, let's do it. Let's hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. My name is Brian. This is Blunt Politics, and I appreciate the shit out of you guys. I really do. Slava Ukraina. Let's get into this Preston Stewart video. Play.
28,000 Russian soldiers were killed or wounded in June. Now, for some context, that's more casualties than the U.S. suffered over 20 years in Afghanistan, which is no wonder that there's more and more rumors about Russian mobilization.
And without those comparisons, I think it would be impossible, near impossible for any democratic society, any right-minded person, any sane person to even try to calculate or envision the human losses, the human waste that has been seen in the war perpetrated by Russia against Ukraine. So when we're talking about 1.4 something million Russian personnel that have been eliminated from the battlefield, either, brutally wounded, losing arms, legs, and faces, if you want to take, Donald Trump's line from him, or again, just killed outright, it's astronomical, and it's near impossible for us, based off the losses of World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, the Gulf Wars. Like, it's just, you can't put it into perspective based upon those numbers, especially obviously the human cost, but the equipment losses as well. Like the dollar value put upon the equipment losses is fucking outrageous. It's something that you can't even put into you can't even put into perspective. It's that hard. So to hear that is more than the entirety of what we lost in the 20 years in Afghanistan gives you some ability to be like, holy shit, we're in the 5th year here, 20 years in Afghanistan, full scale war, boots on the ground in Afghanistan type of war. That gives you some idea as to the losses that the Russians are facing and have been facing here.
Now, this is happening alongside the ongoing Ukrainian middle and deep strike campaign. So it's not as though they said, let's stop killing the soldiers at the front and focus on the refineries. No, the refineries are getting hit every day. The ships in the Sea of Azov and the trucks trying to supply the front are getting hit every day. On top of that, Ukraine is racking up kills.
All right, I'm going back in time here. But I'm disagreeing with the chat. He didn't say guilt. He literally spelt it out. He said GILT. You know what I mean? So no, I'm not giving it to him. You guys can try to convince me all you want, but that's not what he meant. And I know I'm going back a little ways there, but I'm just catching up on some of the chat.
Along the front. According to the Ukrainian Defense Minister Fedorov, he said, quote, over the course of the month, the defense forces hit more than 200,000 enemy targets. The number of targets hit at a distance of more than 50 kilometers has almost doubled. It says the main focus is on the enemy's logistics. Destroying warehouses, transport, and supply routes reduces the enemy's ability to supply its units. The amount of drone strikes happening every day has long since become overwhelming. It is a shocking amount. The ones that we're seeing primarily are when a ship gets hit or when a plane gets hit in Crimea or air defense assets. But every single day there are hundreds.
And I think another way to put that, another term for that would be unsustainable for the Russians. I mean, when we've seen now the amount of supply ships and tankers being hit as the same time that we're seeing the Russian resupply, the fuel tankers being hit on the land bridge, trying to get into Crimea. Like, we can just consistently show how many of these different target sets are being taken out by Ukraine on a nightly basis, whether it's oil refineries, whether it's ports in which they ship the oil from, whether that is justifiable military targets in whatever aspect, whether it's Russia proper, whether it's occupied Crimea, whether it's occupied Donbass, Luhansk, and Donetsk, wherever it may might be, like we've seen just a broad uptick in the amount and the scale of targets that are being hit night after night after night by the Ukrainians, and it is absolutely unsustainable for the Russians. It just cannot persist this way. They have to do something, or this is going to become a real thorn in the side of Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin, where, you know, we've seen recently him try to go out and quell the chaos and tell everybody it's not really a big deal, it's not a huge problem. But, you know, with videos like this that keep persistent of people willing in and around the Moscow area to detail the fuel shortages, the lines, and the prices that they're having to pay, it details another reality entirely as far as what Vladimir Putin is facing. Oh, sorry. So let me go back to the Preston Stewart video. We'll go on from there.
Or videos coming out showing FPV or bomber strikes against Russian soldiers. To that end, Fedorov said in June, the Ukrainian military eliminated or seriously wounded almost 28,000 Russian soldiers.
Fuck, man, you fly that drone right up my ass. You fucking blyatyo. Oh, no. Let me throw my rifle at this drone so it explodes and I get hit with shrapnel. Great.
The comparison with Afghanistan is around 24,000. 25,000 American service members killed or wounded during that war. But that is all casualties, according to, let me make sure I have the source correct here. This is the Defense Casualty Analysis System. So from the Pentagon, that's the number they come up with. The 28,000 coming from Ukraine is all verified on video and is killed or seriously wounded. So not just a ruptured eardrum or maybe a minor shrapnel wound, but 28,000 out of the fight. On top of that, Ukraine says they had a record number of enemy artillery.
Again, if I'm not mistaken, he's talking about in a single month, right? So we're talking about in a single month, the Russians lost more than we lost in 20 years in Afghanistan. Just let me throw that out there again, just, you know, to let that sink in for a couple minutes.
And a record number of enemy vehicles and motorcycles, as well as intercepting 49,575 enemy drones. The best result ever, they say. Again, there are drones everywhere at all times.
That guy had absolutely no idea that drone was about to fly right up his asshole.
The best result ever, they say.
Again, this poor bastard. And I'm lying. I don't really consider him a poor bastard, but he had not a fucking clue.
There are drones everywhere at all.
Mama had a baby and the Russian's head popped off.
All times along a massive front. I still don't know that those of us not engaged in this war and like along the front lines fully understand the volume of drones flying overhead at any given point. Now, I want to be able to do some sort of one-to-one comparison. Say, here are the Ukrainian stats and here are the Russian stats. The thing is, Ukraine is keeping a much better public tally of this information. Russia is not. Now, on the one hand, Ukraine has the unmanned systems forces, and they're kind of rolling up all of that data, again, verified on video. So there's kind of one place you can look for the vast majority of Ukrainian drone strikes. But even that doesn't count all of the units, which makes up the majority of the army, that are not technically under the unmanned systems forces. That's only a couple of units. Russia
and
has
speaking of the unmanned systems forces, it's probably a good time to pop into this Denis Davidov update, speaking about what the Ukrainians' unmanned systems forces were responsible for, at least in the last 24 hours or so. And you can see a pretty concerted effort in and around Moscow. Lots of birds, lots of little birdies heading directly towards Moscow, in and around Moscow, up to what looks to be in and around Yaroslavl. You also have more going into Voronezh. You have some going into Lipetsk and Tambov. You got some into Saratov, which I believe we talked about the other day as well. And then we got some going into the Volgograd area, previously known as Stalingrad. And then just look at the mass amounts of little birdies flying into Crimea, flying into the Sea of Azov and other areas as well. A pretty concerted effort there by the Ukrainians. And let's see here what Denis Davidov can tell us as far as updates and strikes over the last, I think, 24 hours or so here. Play.
Hello, my friends. It is happening, yes, every night almost, but the last night was more successful than usual because Ukraine hit a couple of their refineries. One is really far away in Bashkortostan, and the other one in Kuban region, kind of closer to Ukraine. Plus, lots of the Russian military bases, Russian air defense systems, and as usual, lots of the Russian ships. Magyar is damn serious about those strikes, and Ukraine has accumulated lots of the drones, thousands of those, because every night we see that hundreds of them, they're flying to reach very sensitive Russian infrastructure. And that's the situation in Salavat. Russians are filming it. One more refinery was captured by Ukrainian drones. And you might see here that they put the cover over the distillation units, some of the meshes or nets, but they're not helping. And Ukraine also hits Russian reservoirs Well, I would say this is more sensitive equipment, but it will also be hit. And here we have one more image from the place, so lots of the origins of the fire. Salavat refinery is on fire. Russians are shocked, like what the hell is happening? Especially that far away with the new drone modifications of FP1 drones,
What did he say that was? Solazat? Let me see. Solazat refinery. Just curious where exactly that is. Let's see here. Solazar engineering, specializing pumps and situations. Solazar known as processing. Solazar rotating manual equipment. Yeah, where though? Solazar. So I'm just trying to look it up in the background, see exactly where that was, see if we can point it out on the map. He might actually do it anyway if I... He'll probably have this on the screen anyway.
P2 drones, Ukraine is capable to reach even Bashkortostan. Excellent Nova Plus, thank you for sharing those images. And maybe because of the massive air rains, Russia has blocked the access to Apple, to Google. The search and websites were only available with the help of VPN, but now everything is being restored. Yeah, this is really, really beautiful. That refinery was an important one, not the biggest one in Russia, of course, but it shows that Russia is still in lack of the tools to intercept all of the Ukrainian drones which are heading towards the targets. And this is Gelendzhik, Russian Federation. Something is on fire there. As locals report, the fire is ongoing on territory of the local airport or airfield. It's the common use.
It's insane the amount of targets that they're able to hit. It really is. It really is. Oh, that's another thing that just reminded me. I forgot to bring up, and maybe I'll do this. We'll cover this tomorrow during the last show before my Europe trip. The Kaylin Robinson sit down with Robert Magyar, or just the updates, the recent updates about the alumina plant, the alumina facility in Ireland that Kaylin Robinson was doing the reporting on, the investigative reporting on, and what's coming out of that, because it seems like there's been more movement per his reporting. And people having to finally answer questions about that. So let's see if we can maybe cover that tomorrow as well. But let's see what else we got as far as targets hit by the Ukrainians. I'm going to go on here and see what else.
Where Russians thought that they're safe. And one more picture. So fire spread from one truck to another. Okay, Russia said that it is officially prevented a new spiderweb operation. Yeah, Russian FSB forces, they're showing those CCTV camera videos. Some of the guys with the drones are freaking flashing.
Whoa.
This is circus. Basically, they were shot by the Russian FSB, it seems like, yeah. From the close perspective, they were the guys very close nearby.
And he actually looks like he's talking about some of the sea drones here. I'm curious what he's talking about. It says Ukrainian Navy destroyed the border guard ship of the Russian Federal Security Service, the Izamarud. Ukrainian sailors sank a second border guard ship with the Saragan 3000 naval unmanned complex near Novorossiysk. Among the ship's crew are dead and wounded. It was the Izamarud that took part in the attack on the Ukrainian Navy ships in the Kerch Strait on November 25th, my birthday, 2018. Now let's see what he's talking about here.
Wounded and cancelled. It was Izamarud that took part in attack on the Ukrainian Navy ships in Kerch Strait in 2018. Yeah, I remember that provocation of the Russian Federation. Well, it is gone, it seems like. I wonder what's that Sargon 3000. Oh, that's the drone boat. So hopefully we're going to receive some of the confirmation from
this looks like the drone boat that was utilized to take out that ship by the Ukrainians. And you can see how these have advanced, much like all of their drone technology, much like all of their unmanned systems have progressed technologically, capability-wise as well. I mean, this looks like a whole different platform as to what we were seeing in the first, like the Sea Baby drone attacks as well. But yeah, I mean, just another instance, another example of Ukraine just upping their ability and creating a whole new system of warfare, basically.
The drone boat itself, about the big kaboom of the Russian Coast Guard ship, which is also kind of big and was used by Russia for the military patrolling purposes against those drone boats. But it seems like something went terribly wrong. United States, congratulations with the first effective use of the drone boat in a military conflict in the history of the United States of America. I wonder what kind of the drone...
let's send us off on a high note. I'm going to send you guys off on a high note today before I get into thanking some people. I know I'm over time already, but this is too good not to show you guys. Really is. Anybody that joined us last night for the Zoom, will definitely probably recognize this and recall laughing at this last night, but it's too good. It's too good not to show you. So the Russians basically thought that they could take this gun off of a helicopter platform. I think it was the Mi-24 Hind, if I'm not mistaken, and just put this on the back of a truck, put this on the back of one of their vehicles. And this was kind of the result. This was them, I believe, trying to test this weapons platform. And I don't know. Do you think it went well? Do you think it goes well for this guy? Let's see here. Holy shit. It gets me every fucking time. Every time. Look at how close this guy gets to losing his goddamn head. Look at how close this guy comes to being the headless horseman. I mean, are you shitting me? And that thing is throwing out some rounds, baby. That thing is throwing out some rounds. Look at that. I mean, the force, I don't know if we were talking about this last night. I don't know if it was like, just the centrifugal force of the barrel spinning itself or, the bearings that they used for the rotation on that. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but it took and it threw what is seemingly probably 165, 175 pound Russian and yeeted his ass. Absolutely yeeted his ass. And then watch how dumb the other guy, he gets up, right? He gets up, he tries to stop he attempts to stop the rotation of the weapon. And then what's the dumbest thing he could possibly do after firing about, 60, 70, 100 or so rounds out of a barrel? Touch the barrel. Because that's what he does. Just to kind of, further kick himself in the nuts. He had to burn his fucking hand off by putting it on the super hot barrel after that. And then he looks down at the guy like, where'd he go? Suka bliat. Where the fuck did he go? And then you never see the guy again. This isn't the guy. This is just another one of the commanders or people in charge of the training looking like, what the fuck happened? What the fuck was that? But yeah, this is how close this guy came to losing his life right there. Look at that. About 3.5 inches. Unreal. All right. But let's see if we can get into thanking some people today. Really do appreciate all the patrons last night again for showing up to the Zoom, showing your support and generosity, not only to this channel in general, but obviously to the upcoming trip that I have that you guys are directly responsible for making possible. So what do you say we get into thanking everybody that was nice enough to utilize the Venmo, and then after we'll see if we made it to our goal. So I can thank you guys there as well. But first up today, Damon on the list. Much appreciated, Dame. Great to see you last night. As always, my friend. Sent in $20 through Venmo, and he said, call us if you need bail. Well, you know me way too well already. My friends would get a kick out of that one because that is probably the top comment so far. But yes, I will absolutely let you guys know if I get into any trouble. Like I said, I'm going to try to utilize the trip and stick around even beyond what I think the rest of the convoy is. So I will absolutely let you guys know where I am, when I am, how I am, that type of thing. But thank you so much, Dame. Thank you to Yakov. Much appreciated, my friend. He says he sent in $10 for the Ukraine trip. Much appreciated, dude. Thank you so much for everything that you do down there, keeping that chat a safe place, all of the support and generosity you've shown this channel. That goes for all of the other mods as well. Thank you guys so goddamn much. Thank you so much to Jim in the chat. OG member of the chat here. He sent in $25. He said, recent focus has been truck and travel. Here's your package. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Here's your pocket change. Thank you so much to Jim for your contribution. Let's see here. Next on the list is going to be Kristen. Thank you so much to Kristen. Kristen D, just so you know who I'm speaking about, for the $10 contribution. Kristen says Ukraine trip. Thank you so much, Kristen. You guys are amazingly supportive. It is, really a sight to behold. It's really uplifting and rewarding to see the support that you guys show. So thank you so much to Kirsten P. So not Kristen D, but Kirsten P. Just to make sure we don't get anybody mixed up, sent in $20 for the trip to Ukraine. Thank you so goddamn much for everything, guys. It really is heartwarming. Thank you so much to Roger and Karen for your contribution. Thank you so much to Monica S for the $10. Thank you so much to Brian H, as always, for your contributions. And then over the last few days, as I like to do, thank you so much to Suzanne, Brian again, Marty. Thank you so much to Nance. Much appreciated for all of the generosity that you have shown. Thank you so much to Jeff for your substantial contribution. Thank you so much to Dame again. Love seeing you guys be affiliated with this community, members of the community, and contributing to the community as you guys do. And that's just not to the show. We've uplifted and helped many people in this chat that needed it for one thing or the other, and I am just very blessed to be able to be in the opportunity, to be in the position to utilize a community like that. So thank you guys so much. Let's see how we did over here. Looks like we made it. Looks like you guys did it. Let's fucking go. Appreciate you guys. I love it. I love it. And I can't wait to pick out when I get back a couple people in the chat that will get, whatever souvenirs or, just little knickknacks that I pick up along the way. Can't thank you enough. First up today is Allie and Gray. Thank you so much, Allie and Gray, for the $30 contributions. Watching you grow, kid. Good job. Much appreciated. And that is a fantastic picture of your sleeping cat as well. So thank you to everybody that has been possible, making this show possible and responsible for getting us to this position. And thank you, Allie and Gray, for following along and watching the growth and the journey that we've been on here at Blunt Politics. So much appreciated. Can't thank you enough. Thank you to Yakov. Says, I got your back. Well, you don't have much back to give away, brother. Okay, so let's focus on your own back before you start having my own. But yeah, we appreciate you, brother, as always. And I'm joking, of course. Hopefully you get my humor at this point. But yeah, I appreciate you having my back. I appreciate you having the channel's back as always, and everything that you and the rest of the mods have done for me is so greatly appreciated. It really is. But get yourself better. Make sure that your back is functioning before you can start watching mine. All right, dude. Thank you. Thank you to Brian H. For the $10 contribution. Slava Ukraina, safe travels to my fellow tradesmen. Much appreciated, Bri, as always. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And thank you so goddamn much to everybody for these contributions and for this support. Dame Dog says, stay safe in Euroland. Much appreciated. Love the Dropkick Murphy shirt you got on in the picture as well. Shipping off not to Boston, but to Ukraine. Thank you, Bobby Slacks. Much appreciated. You fucking hummer, you. He says Slava Ukraine as well. Love to you, brother. Wishing you a safe trip. Love to all the Bryantologists. Thank you so much, Slacks. Couldn't be a thing. Wouldn't be a thing without you guys in the chat making this possible. So thank you so goddamn much. Thank you to Jeff in the chat. Safe travels and much love from Roxanne 1979 and Jin. Much appreciated. Can't wait to keep you guys up to date and informed on how the trip's going. Things that I'm noticing and sights to see, all those things. I'm really excited to be able to bring you guys along for the ride that you are again responsible for. So much appreciated. Thank you to Yakov. Again, can't thank you enough for all the contributions right there with the Ukrainian military, as he's always been and consistently been in this chat. Thank you to Carol Pack. Much appreciated for the 5 gifted Boston Bryant memberships. 5 fantastic people in that chat now getting the opportunity to have a membership for an entire month because Carol is just a fantastic individual. What else can be said about that? So, Carol, bless you. Thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Same thing goes to Bethany, who's been a member for 22 months. Let's go, Bethany. Great to see you. Trump is a guilty loser, putting it mildly. I appreciate it. And I know you can only get away with so much in those super chat comments. So I'll take it from here. He's a degenerate pedophile prick. He is a decrepit orange scumbag and just a giant piece of shit. I think that's kind of what you were going for on that one, Bethany. So, again, don't want to get you in any trouble with the super chats. Thank you so much for being here for 22 months. It really, really means the world. Thank you so much to Colleen. Look, oh, my goodness, Colleen, for $50 contribution. Let's go. $50 super chat. Appreciate that so goddamn much. For Travels, also that we all stand up and vote out every enabler of this corrupt regime. Impeach, convict, remove. Love to the families affected by murder. Right there with you, Colleen. Absolutely. Amen to everything that you just said there. And thank you so much for all of your generosity and all of the contributions and just being in the chat in general, supporting this channel means the fucking world. It really does. So thank you. And Colleen Sarah, not to be confused with Colleen Gen X, sending in a $5 contribution. It isn't much. I appreciate you from the other Colleen. There is no such thing as the other Colleen, but I get the joke. I understand what you're saying. But you guys, all of you there in the chat are very, very special and meaningful to me. And it goes a long, long way. So I can ramble and get here, get all soppy, but I appreciate you. And it isn't enough. type of comments. I've said that time and time again, Colleen. There's just no such thing as not enough. Again, 50 cents, $1. If everybody in the chat were to do that every single show, just think of how much we could do and build with that platform. So $5 is more than enough. It is more than generous, and there's no way for you to beat yourself up about that. So please don't. So it goes a long, long way in helping Colleen, Gen X, and Colleen Sarah. Thank you guys so much for keeping up Team Colleen in the chat there. Thank you, John McDonough. More stupid. Thank you so much for the $12 contribution. And you probably, I don't know if you're talking about me, but it probably would fit if you're saying more stupid. But I'm guessing it's more along the lines of Greg Kelly or Hugh Hewitt. But no, thank you so much. Great to see you last night in the chat. Thank you for the insights into obviously your service. Appreciate your service as always, and thank you for being a fan and a follower and just somebody that's really involved with this channel. I very much appreciate it. Thank you to Shockey as well for the £2. Let's go. Appreciate that. They are all scumbag tosses. Couldn't second that enough. I reiterate that all the time. Much appreciated, Shockey, from watching across the pond, and everybody else that watches from anywhere else outside of the United States, and clearly, obviously, everybody inside the United States as well. I love each and every single one of you. Thank you again, John McDonough, two complete assholes, and that could mean a lot of people. That could have been Mike Johnson. That could have been, I don't know if I played that clip, actually. I think I already got rid of it, but Mike Johnson was questioned about the ICE shooting in Maine. And basically, again, as he's pulled out of his fucking hat time and time again as an excuse was, I didn't hear about it. I don't know anything about it. The Speaker of the House, somebody in line for the President of the United States, not knowing about the illegal murders on the streets of the United States in broad daylight at the hands of ICE, which I'm sure he did know about it, but didn't want to answer any of the questions about that. But yeah, had that one up for you. I'm not sure if I got to that. I forget at this point. But thank you, John. Thank you, Laurie. Great to see you guys last night. Love you, Brian. Safe travels. Right back at you, Laurie. Always great seeing you in the chat. Always great seeing you in the Zooms. Very much appreciate that. Have a great, great day. Thank you, Jen from Maine. As I was saying today, made it there. He said, made it here having to drive past the murder site over and over. I can't believe I witnessed that shit. Traumatic doesn't begin to describe it. I can't even imagine. I really can't. Just happened to be in the general vicinity of something like that happening, seeing the aftermath and the obvious protests that have sparked since that, the outrage in the community. We feel for you, everybody involved in that, regardless of how you're involved in that, everybody in the community, family, friends, co-workers of Yuan as well. Just a terrible, terrible situation, and just more to prove that we're in a terrorist death cult regime right now, and that we're definitely not pissed off enough in this country. So, Jen, thank you so much for, filling me in on everything that happened and letting me know about your situation. And we just, we wish you guys well up there in that area, and hopefully that gets taken care of sooner rather than later, if you know what I mean. So thank you, Jen, for everything that you do for this channel, everything that you've been responsible for in building up this channel, building up this platform, helping me out with the computer stuff. You and Eric have been absolutely fantastic, and I just can't thank you enough. So thank you for the $10, and then obviously the information and the insight as to what people are feeling in and around the murder site there in Maine. People having to drive by that, see the media coverage, seeing the protests. It's just, I can't imagine. So thank you so much for everything that you've been doing for this channel. Thank you, John, again, for another $12. Sent notes to Congress, all of them, Connecticut and Rhode Island. I can't vote in both, but I can bitch in both. Oh, I got you. Yeah, that's what we should be doing. Absolutely. Continuously calling, writing letters, calling people out online, tagging them in your chats, tagging them in the links, everything that you could possibly do. Even if you can't vote in that state, make the fucking phone calls, please. John setting the trend here, and I appreciate you for doing it, my friend. Thank you to Bethany again. Some money for your trip. Safe travels. Thank you, Bethany. You guys are absolutely fantastic. And then DPD, let's go. Unbelievable, you guys. Unbelievable. I often wondered to myself what it will take to wake people up. People are being murdered in the streets. The water, the food, and the air is unsafe. People are broker and sicker, yet it is business as usual. What the fuck are we waiting for? I am angry. Why aren't you? And I'm right there with you, DPD. I got no notes, nothing to correct as far as that sentiment is concerned. I continue to reiterate the same. I don't think we're pissed off enough in this country. I don't think we're fighting back enough in this country, and I don't think the politicians are taking it as seriously as they need to take it as well. We should be out there already planning, setting up dates, setting up fucking people to cover these Nuremberg-style trials that is going to hold every single one of these people now in politics, in in the Trump administration that has committed a crime, that has stolen, that has been responsible for a fraud, given an illegal order, whatever it may be. Now is the time to start letting people know that we're going to act on these fucking things that they want to see, and not wait till a week or two before the election or before midterms to start talking about how serious we're going to take these things when we get if we get back into power. So DPD, thank you so much for the $50 contribution, and I second your sentiment there. I second your statement wholeheartedly. So appreciate you. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you so much for your contributions. Bicycle Mike, been here for fucking 23 months. Let's go, dude. Said F Trump, F maggots, F cancer, F Israel. Second all of those. Much appreciated for being here, Bicycle Mike. Always a pleasure to have you here in the chat. Always a pleasure to see you in the Zooms when we get the opportunity. And again, I can't thank you guys enough for your generosity to this platform. So Jen, been here for a member for 22 months. Again, let's go. Seems to be the 22-month mark. Let's go. Where everybody's getting into the 20 months. I love it. I hope you're enjoying your vapes. Thank you, Jen. Much appreciated. Again, all of the things that you've helped me out with. I really do appreciate it. It doesn't go unnoticed. And, again, I wish I had more words to describe how grateful I am to everybody in the chat for helping me out. And whether it was getting from California to here and hotel, whatever it may have been, you guys have been right there for me. And I will be right there for you. I promise that. So thank you so much, Jane. Jane. Thank you so much, Jen. And then thank you to JD as well for the $5 contribution. Siempre antifascista. As always, going right in the swear jar. And then we got Buttercup Baby, Slava Ukraine. We got Dame Dog and one to grow on. $2 contributions flying around. Let's go. Stay safe, brother. Hugs, says Roxanne, 1979. And then we got Jim in here. Remember, for 26 months, never a dull moment here. And that's for damn sure. That is, if that's one thing we could say about this channel and about this live stream and about the chat, never a goddamn dull moment. And you guys are partly responsible for that as well. So thank you, Jim. Much appreciated. Then we got Bicycle Mike back for Trinkets in Europe. Let's fucking go. You guys are unbelievable. We got Rocks in there. Laurie, almost there. Slava Ukraine. Love to my lobster family. Tamra, a little bit more help. Let's fucking go, Boston. Brian. John McDonough back with another 2. Roxanne with another 2. John back with another 2. Jim with 1. Tiff chiming in there for our chosen lobsters to get to Kyiv souvenir. And then Laurie, Roxanne, Billy the Kid. Appreciate that, my friend. Slava Ukraine, thanks, Brian, for all that you do. No, thank you, Billy, for all that you do. You and everybody else in these chats that make these channels a thing. Again, I'd be sitting here like a psychopath talking to myself, as I told the Zoom last night, if it wasn't for the chat. So, Billy, much appreciated, dude. Thank you to everybody else as well, Roxanne and Laurie and Tiff. Thank you so much to Wes for the $3.33. He says, please stay safe. I will, Wes. Thank you so much for your concern. I will absolutely stay as safe as humanly possible, just so I can make it back to you guys. I promise. Thank you so much to Chris Daly for the $2 contribution. Thank you to Brian H. again. YouTube, double charges and taxes, Venmo always. YouTube, double charges and taxes, Venmo always. I'm not sure about the Venmo one. I think the Venmo is only like if you try to put it in your bank account or shift it off to somebody else. From what I know, Venmo is typically the easiest and most direct way. But yeah, YouTube kind of takes a cut, and it doesn't get to you as quick, and it's a whole rigmarole. But I am greatly appreciative of whatever way that you guys utilize to send, and I'm not going to stipulate one is better or more substantial than the other. It's all fantastic, but I appreciate you, Bri. Thank you so much to Chris as well for the 2 $5 contributions back to back there. Pam chiming in as well with the $5 contribution. Safe travels, Brian. Bring me a pretty rock. We'll try. I don't know what the travel restrictions are as far as rocks from Ukraine, but we'll figure it out, Pam. I'll be right there to figure it out. We'll go over the laws together. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Jim again for the $2 contribution. The gun has angular recoil, which sends it spinning. Yeah, but would it produce that much force? You know what I mean? Like, I understand that's a thing, absolutely, and you're 100% right. But it just, like, 175-pound, 160, 80-pound guy that quickly, it's just, I'm not denying it. It's just stunning to see. It really is. But thank you so much for the information, for the updates, Jim. Much appreciated. Thank you, Bethany, again for $5 for some drinks to keep you hydrated for your trip. Safe travels. Won't be here tomorrow. Well, thank you so much, Bethany. Wishing you a very, very good week. And thank you so much for chiming in today. Well, you can't be here tomorrow, and I'll be certain to buy some hydrating drinks on the way, I promise. Thank you so much to Bethany. Thank you to David Weiss for the $2 contribution. Shout out to you, David. Thank you for being here. Always good to see you in the super chat, not the super chats, the Zoom chats. Very, very much appreciated. And then finally, rounding it out today is RP Marcin. I'll just call you RP. I'll stick with RP because I know I'm at least getting that part right. So thank you, RP, for the $20 contributions. Great channel and community. Thank you, Brian and community, for the support to Ukraine. Absolutely. It is literally an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege to be affiliated, to be involved in these fundraisers, all of the communities that were trying to uplift, from our good friend Tom and his Slava Ukraine sunflower shirt, which goes to help give contributions and raise money for the Misto Dobra, which is an orphanage in Ukraine, one of the largest orphanages in Ukraine. Also goes to help animals and elderly. So any cause that we could possibly get involved in. The Ukraine merch at bostonbrian.com, the Blunt Politics merch shop. We get proceeds donated to United 24 from anything from that. So we try to kick back and contribute and be a part of this historic moment, really, stemming from my my love and passion of in studies of World War II, and now seeing in my lifetime the biggest war in Europe to happen since that time is, it's wild to see. And I'm going to do everything I possibly can to say that I didn't sit back and sit idly by and sit mute while the Russians ran roughshod over Europe. And I'm actually going to do anything I possibly can to get involved. And if that means going into a war zone and handing over a vehicle personally, in person, to these frontline troops, then that's what the fuck I'm going to do. If that means embedding with some of these frontline troops for a 24-hour period to get access and insights into how they live and how difficult it is for them and how much they can rely upon these fundraising efforts and how much equipment they actually need, then that's what the fuck I'll do. And it's because of you guys. It's with your help and your contributions and your generosity and your involvement in all of these different things that we're passionate about that we get the opportunity to do this as a community, right? I may be doing it. I may be going over there and putting my feet on the ground, but I'm doing that representing this community, okay? I'm representing the Blunt Politics family, the Bryantologists, as much as we love to make fun of the Donald Trump MAGA cult, with the Bryantology play there. It's true. I'm representing you guys, and, each and every one of you for supporting this community means the world to me. It really does. So rounding it out today, thank you to Goa. Much appreciated. For some souvenirs, have a safe trip. Thank you so much for the $2 contribution and everybody else that's responsible for keeping this show going. I'm going to let you guys go. I will see you tomorrow for our last and final show before we head off to Europe. So if you're going to be there, our show is going to be at 1 o'clock tomorrow. That is 1 p.m. on the East Coast. That's 10 a.m. on the West Coast, and somewhere in between, depending on where you live. Or I shouldn't be able to say that anymore. So it might not be in between, because if you live outside the United States, it's probably not going to be in between. It may be, but it might not be. So check up on the notifications, hit that notification bell, and it should send you an alert about a half hour before I go live. And then obviously when I go live, in case you're trying to line up the time changes and the time zone differences. But thank you. Thank you to Allie on Cash App. I know Allie always utilizes the Cash App to send it over, and I don't always get the opportunity to thank, the people like Carl. Thank you, Carl Smith, for the PayPals as well. I know we have those that you can utilize, but I don't typically throw those up on the screen. So thank you, everybody. So Venmo up in the corner. You can throw in a super chat. You can sign up at patreon.com. You can sign up for YouTube memberships. You can gift YouTube memberships, or again, you can just do anything possible to try to contribute to the to the growth of this channel. So very much appreciated. Slava Ukraini. Stay loud, stay proud, stay aggressive. I will see you beautiful people tomorrow for our Wednesday show. And then from there, it's going to be up in the air as far as when and how and what time we can have shows. So please make sure you're following all of the social media sites, Facebook, Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, all of the different sites that I put out information on, so you can get some updates. If I'm not able to put out pictures or videos or a live or anything, I'll be sure to give you guys some updates along the way. So follow along, go over to Blunt Politics, the merch shop, and grab some merch. And then you can head over to bostonbrian.com to follow along on all of these social media platforms as well. So, all right, big salute to you guys. Thank you to the mods. You guys are the best mods in the history of social media, the best to ever grace a chat on YouTube or anywhere else. And I couldn't love you anymore. And just the best community to ever have been assembled ever ever in history is right here at the Blunt Politics community. So I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you so goddamn much. And I'm already thinking in my head, I'm already scheming in my head as to what these souvenirs are going to be. And again, we'll figure out some random way to make sure that that no favorites are played. There's no favoritism being played, and it is totally at random pick who gets these souvenirs. So I'm out. I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you. Thank you for your your generosity. Thank you for your appreciation. I am so appreciative of your appreciation. And we could go round and round like this all day. But I'm out of here. I love you. Thank you guys so much. And don't forget to be supporting that really new country of
Islamic Republic of Japan.
So make sure we're all supportive of them. They need it. They deserve it. And I'll let you guys go. I'm out of here. My name's Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. Get loud. Get proud. Get aggressive. Get the fuck out of your seats and into the streets. We're just not pissed off enough based upon all of the degradation to our societal, to our society, and obviously the rights that we should be afforded here as American citizens in this country. We are now living under a fascist death cult, a terrorist regime, broadly killing people in broad daylight in the middle of the streets here in the United States, and we need to fucking act. And we better act now. So, all right, I'm out of here. I love you. Salute. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you. That works. Might have to be my cowboy hat. Could be a lot of names. But yeah, we'll figure it out. I think there's like a random, generator online, and I could maybe, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Fuck it. Fucking find out. Suzanne just sent in $20 on Venmo. Thank you so much, Suzanne. Much appreciated. We will miss you. You're doing a fantastic thing. So glad you are seeing the Barnacle bus safely to its destination. Thank you so much, Suzanne. Very much appreciated. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for being so supportive of our passion here at Blunt Politics. The entire community has been fantastic.
Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
We're inviting Americans from all across the country to come. The kidney has a very special place in the heart. It's an incredible thing. The kidney, the undisputed champion of beautiful, clean coal. It's a new form of vicious violation to our country. God bless the United States. For miners, do we love miners? I love miners. We appreciate those camels. I haven't seen camels like that in a long time. We appreciate those camels. We're a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia...
Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
Yes, of course, hence the name. Movement, it moves a certain distance, then it stops, you see. A revolution gets its name by always coming back around in your face. You tried to kill me, you son of a bitch. So welcome to the revolution.
know what uranium is, right? It's a thing called nuclear weapons and other things. Like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things.
My superpower's being honest. I will eat my neighbors.
We've endorsed JP, right? J.D. Mandel.
Go fuck yourself.
You referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small.
Always calling me Little Marco. And I'll admit, the guy, he's taller than me, he's like 6'2", which is why I don't understand why his hands are the size of someone who's 5'2".
For the rest of my life, I have the curse that I have little hands. Little hands.
Hey, you got a little chubby going there.
He builds the wall the way he built Trump Towers. He'll be using illegal immigrant labor to do it.
Where you going? Nowhere.
Brian, you're drunk. You're drunk.
I can just tell you that a
Вітаю,
con
Бостон
artist.
Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis. I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
You'll have a group of Venezuelan killers, street gangs, occupying the town with MK-47s. I know that gun very well. I got to know it. Yesterday's a hard word for me. Never fight uphill, me boys. Never fight uphill. They were fighting uphill. He said, wow, that was a big mistake. He lost his great general. And they were fighting. Never fight uphill, me boys. But it was too late.
Oh, get those lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off! Army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do. We are a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat to officially name the undisputed. Just when did this come out?